The haunting hour is at hand. Ghostly hauntings since time began. Raw side paranormal seeks the truth, looking for some kind of real proof. Creepy floorboards and eerie dark mist. Grab your camera and document this. No time to run, no time to hide. We are catching all of this on the raw side. A slamming door causes a fright. A shadowed hand appears in sight. Grab your REM pods and your K2s, or anything else you can use. No time to run, no time to hide. We are catching all of this on the wrong side. A slamming door causes a fright. A shadowed hand appears in sight. Grab your REM pods and your K2s, or anything else you can use. No time to run, no time to hide. We are catching all of this on the raw side. The icy air touches your neck. You feel like screaming, but you stay in check. Orbs rising up to take the magical flight. You can't believe what's happening tonight. Don't run, don't try to hide. We are catching this all on the raw side. Don't run, don't try to hide. We are catching this all on the raw side.
GIF, everybody. Welcome to the Raw Side. How is everybody doing tonight? I want to give shout outs to everybody who's in chat. Hi, Faith. Hi, Jillian. Michael, welcome, welcome. Rob. And I know Carla's in there somewhere lurking about. I think I caught everybody so far. If not, I apologize. Welcome, everybody. We are all excited. We have Jimmie from Ghost Quest on with us this evening. Put your hands together and welcome Jimmie. Hi, Jimmie.
Hello. How you doing?
I'm doing good. How about yourself?
Oh, I feel much better now.
Much better now. Now, do you prefer Jimmie or James?
My friends call me Jimmie. You're welcome to call me Jimmie.
All right. We're going to call you Jimmie then.
Yeah.
Anything that makes you feel comfortable. And I am so glad that you wanted to join us and hang out with us this evening.
Of course.
And I know Friday is not my usual night, guys, but that's the only time Jimmie had available. So we are always catering to our guests. And so here we are.
I appreciate it. Yeah.
So Jimmie, we're just going to pretty much just jump right into it. And I always ask everybody, and I don't know if anybody's ever watched any of my videos, we always like to know about the person behind the work, because we know your work. Most of us do anyway. And but we like to know about Jimmie the person.
Well, I'm 42. I have a little boy. He's just started school. That is breaking my heart, but I will get over it.
Yeah.
I am a musician. That's really where I started, was mostly music. That's how I got a lot of the equipment, like my sound equipment and stuff, my studio and whatnot. Played drums since I was 12. And recently joined a band, and I'm knocking off the rust because I haven't been in a band for 12 years. I was in a band before called Never Found, which was like indie rock music. Yeah, and I guess after school, I just kind of, various jobs, stuff like that, jack of all trades in a way. I have a lot of interests. But paranormal was one that stuck with me ever since I was little. You know, my mother and my uncle told me stories about the house that they used to live in. And I remember going to school and telling my peers and my teachers those stories and being laughed at and ridiculed. And ultimately, what I saw was that they were calling my mother and my uncle liars, but I knew better. I know better, you know, that we're talking blue collar farmer type people, you know,
Right.
and I knew that they just wouldn't make up stuff like that. So I think that's why I have such a passion when it comes to exposing people who are fake, you know, catching them in their lies. And
Yeah.
then, you know, I mean, I'm not trying to hurt anybody by any means. I just, if you don't want the shit that, is it okay if I cuss? Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
If you don't want the shit that you do to be exposed, don't do shitty shit. It's as
I
simple as that.
totally agree. Okay, so at least we know where the drive comes from. It's I don't know if anybody has seen the documentary you did on the Carmel house there. Oh, excellent, by the way, totally
Thank you.
excellent. I really enjoyed it. Um, so at least we know. You guys need to go check it out if you haven't seen it. It is really good, and I agree with you on that one about at first the window scene there. I thought it was a cat
Right.
because that's when I
That,
seen it first looked at it. And I go, wait a minute, that's a cat.
uh-huh. A lot of people, well, there is a video that he did where it was a cat. And it wasn't the one that I debunked, but I think he got the idea when he saw that, you know, because I mean, you could tell it was a cat in one of his videos, and
Oh, oh, what happened?
that's all
I'm
right.
sorry. Something happened
Okay,
there. Go ahead.
okay. He's deleted so many videos that I don't even know if I could find that video anymore. But yeah, originally the very first one he ever did like that was a cat, and then I started watching it, and I immediately thought that moves like fabric when I first saw it, you know, and it was there were some things, there were certain videos that I was like, well, that's interesting. That seems interesting. But then there were other videos where I'm like, come on, that can't be real, you know? And so I reached out to him and was like, I'd like to make a documentary about you and your house. And he was all about it. He was all about it, you know? And I go out there and I start noticing things. I start picking up behaviors that are commonly associated with pathological liars and compulsive liars. I started picking that up. I mean, like I said, I've had a lot of jobs, so I've worked with a lot of people, and a lot of times those people are very evident. You know, they have some very fantastic story, or they're always one upping your story or whatever, you know.
Right. Oh yeah, I know that one. Tall tales.
Yeah. And he radiated this kind of vibe. And it made me curious, and it also made me curious. Why does he keep bringing up this guy that calls him a hoaxer? Why does he keep bringing this guy up to me? What, like he didn't? I never brought him up. He kept bringing him up, and so I felt it was only fair to reach out to him, which was David Sear. And once I talked to David, that was when the the story took a drastic change, you know. And that was when I was like, I can't. I had already made up my mind that I was going to expose, you know, or at least remake some of his videos. I wasn't going to be as harsh, but once I
Right.
saw what he did to David, I was like, okay, I gloves are off. If this guy can do this stuff to somebody, you know, and try to tarnish his reputation around, and that's the thing. Carmel's a small town,
Right.
and I live in a small town, you know, 2,000 people or less small. So everybody knows each other. And David is well known in his town, and he's well known as a hard worker, a good guy, and, you know, not a drug addict. And, you know, they know that he's his family's been around in that town for years and years and years and years, you know, generations. And for this guy to show up, comes up out of Florida, has no roots from this town, just shows up and starts dragging people's names through the mud, like Edmund Lamb, the old caretaker that was around way back in the early 1900s, late 1800s. There are people that are related to this person, you know, and actually I have somebody right now trying to locate any living relatives of Edmund Lamb because I'd like to show them what Kit Burris is up to. I can't hear you.
Oh, you can't hear me?
There we go. I can now.
Okay. I'll just turn it up just a little bit. Just let me know if I'm blowing out your eardrums.
Yeah.
Yeah, they would be very interesting. Yeah, to see if you could find any. I mean, there should be some living relatives somewhere.
I would hope so. I would hope so.
So yeah, it would be continuation of the story because I was curious of what made you pick that specific house.
Well, he was reachable. You know, he only had like 30,000 subscribers at the time, and people that have those kinds of numbers more often than not will respond to you. You know, I mean, not always, but especially if you're sharing interest in what they're doing and you're talking about, I'd like to spread your message, so to speak. They're definitely interested. Now, I wasn't trying to be shady when I went. I really wanted it to be real. I really wanted those things to be real, but common sense and logic were like, I don't know. And then, of course,
Yeah, too sketchy.
yeah, and once I started talking to David, things really started, poking out at me, and it was like, wow, this is not what I expected. And here I am 4 years later. I started this in 2020, and I'm still living this documentary. I'm still in it. Kent Burris has been a big part of my life for the past 4 years, and I was just a quick visit for him.
Right. And you're still
Yeah.
looking for answers.
That's right. Yeah.
So yeah, that's what it is when you get into something like this, a project like this. It does take up a lot of time.
I had no idea. I had no idea what I was getting myself into.
Yeah,
I had
well, you
no
did
idea.
a great job.
Thank you.
Excuse me. So, as far as your beginnings, you said that your mother and your grandfather used to tell you stories, but did you have any kind of experiences yourself as a child?
Yeah. I remember just telling Carla about this last night. When I was little, I remember being very little, like less than 1 year old. I remember my first Halloween, I would have been 11 months old. I remember that. I remember my dad dressing up. I have I don't know why, but I was gifted with a good memory.
Yeah, because I don't remember anything when I was one.
Yeah, or less than one. Even most people
You're
don't.
right.
At that point, you're not even really talking. So I kind of remember
It was pretty amazing.
bits and pieces of that. Yeah. But we used to live in one house, and then suddenly my memories shift and we're in another house. It had to have been the first year that we were at this new house, and we moved from the old house. So I was 2 years old when we moved to this other house. And I remember being in the back room and looking through the window, and there was a man. I mean, he was right outside the window, and the way the house is it's elevated up a bit. So he was looking up at me through the window. And I remember him being like, when I think about it in my mind's eye now, the facial expression is confusion. Like, who are you and what are you, like, who are you? What is this? But I was just as confused. But I was also a bit put off. Like, I wouldn't say scared, but it was like, this isn't normal. And so I went to my mom. I said, Mama, there's a man outside the window. And she went over there and she was like, Jimmie, there's no one here. Now I'm 2 years old. I don't know what dead is. I don't know what ghosts are. I don't know what lying is.
Right.
So I remember being like, again, more confused when she said there was no one there. I was like, well, where did he go? She's like, there was no one there. But I know that I saw a guy looking at me, and he was solid. I don't remember. It was just the shoulders up is what I remember. But he was solid. He was there looking at me. And it wasn't until I was in my, I think, mid-20s where that memory popped into my head. And I realized that had to have been a ghost is what that was. Had to have been.
And you never ended up doing any kind of research when you got older to try to figure out or explain?
There was a guy, so the farmer that my grandfather bought the farm from, his father had a heart attack down between the barns. And again, my mother and my uncle would tell me stories about dogs would not go down to that particular part of the farm. They'd sit there and they would growl. They wouldn't go near that specific area where he had died. So if it could have been him, I suppose. I do remember his shirt being kind of plaid, like having a plaid pattern on it. Again, I'm only seeing the shoulders that are in my memory.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, it could have been him. I don't know. There was also at the house, the stories that they told me. So there was a house before the house that sits there now. They lived in another house that was there. And that house was very old. It was old enough that there was a soldier who had been in the Civil War lived there. And he was killed. And the stories that my mother and my uncle would tell me were about seeing a Civil War soldier, a Northerner. They could tell by the shape of his hat that he was a Northerner. And he would be. My uncle said he woke up one night and when he woke up, his eyes were facing the window to the where there used to be a balcony out there, but there hadn't been for years and years, probably decades. But there was a man standing out the window looking in at him. And that's really interesting, and of course my uncle was somebody I really looked up to. My mom told me stories about she would hear the door open and close and someone walk through the house and then walk through the front door. They'd walk out the front door, and when she'd look out to see who it was, there was no one that had walked through the house. So yeah, I never encountered anything where I saw a Confederate soldier or anything like that. I have heard someone walk through the house before, and my dog heard it. So yeah, I mean, I've had some things happen, and it was like, did I have those things happen? Like I've always questioned that. Like, did I really? And I think that's part of my desire to find as much information as I can, towards the truth, of what these things are.
Have you had the opportunity to investigate that space or no?
I haven't really done an investigation per se. One night, so I do game night on Sundays with my friends, and it was me and a couple of friends of mine. We're sitting. It was just me and these two girls, Amy and Shelby. And I was talking. I don't remember what I was talking to them about, but I could hear like a crumpling of a chip bag, and it was distracting me because it just kind of happened out of nowhere. And I realized that the chip bag is kind of jiggling a bit, and I'm like, "Is that a mouse?" So I get up really quick and I snatch the chip bag, and there was no mouse. No, I mean, mice are fast. I will say that it potentially, sure. Occam's razor. What's more likely? Was it a ghost or was it a mouse? So I can go along with that. I set it back down, and it moved again almost immediately. It shook a little.
Oh, wow.
And I was like, and we were all watching this, and I go, "Can you move that thing again for us?" And it goes across the counter. And we all saw that. And so then I get out my phone and Amy gets out her phone and I start recording. And I wasn't asking questions or anything, but you hear this woman's voice come in. She goes, "Watching you." And that was, I mean, so I love EVPs. I know that's not my mother's voice. It's not anybody else's voice that would have been around. I live way out in the middle of nowhere. I live in the middle of a cornfield. I have virtually no neighbors for a quarter of a mile in each direction.
You're that little single house in the middle of the corn, aren't you?
Yes.
Yeah.
Way back off the road. And so I don't know what that was, but I do believe that there's something here. It's not. I don't think it's trying to hurt anybody or anything like that. But I definitely, my mother has told me stories about here. She heard a little girl go, "Hi, Grandma," but and she had a granddaughter, but the granddaughter wasn't here at the time. There was no one here. It was just her. So things happen. Let's see. Faith has a question. To your knowledge, does anyone in your family have sensitivity with the paranormal? No, I wouldn't say anybody's sensitive. I don't. My parents, my mom and my dad, they're both very. My mom's a very simple person. She grew up, like I said, on the farm, milking cows and learning to cook and clean. That was what her mother taught her, and so there wasn't really a whole lot of any. Also, very Christian. So any kind of influence outside of Christianity is scary to them.
Right.
So even if there were some sort of sensitivity, I don't think they would admit it. But no, my mom, the closest thing I could say to something paranormal was my mom dreamt about the Challenger exploding 2 days before it happened.
Oh, wow. Really?
Yeah,
Oh, my
that's about
goodness.
that's about that. Yeah, but
Oh, wow.
very,
Hi, Boo. Welcome.
very cool.
Yeah, that would have made me a little nervous.
Hey, Boo, how are you?
Knowing that, I remember actually watching that on television
Yeah, yep, I remember when
when
it
that
happened too.
It's pretty scary. Let's see. Lately, something there. Here lately with me, it's something that happens randomly. All right, so yeah, everybody has their moment when something strange happens. So it's
Hmm.
you try to like, what the heck is that? Or
Exactly.
yeah,
That's, I think, the first thought is, what just happened? Did this just happen? Is this real? What, it's more of a confusion, at least for me. When I
right,
heard the person walking through the house, that one was, what, because I have a phone plan through a friend of mine. It's a family plan because I wrecked my credit when I was younger. And the only way I could get a good phone through AT&T was through a family plan. So this is back, and I've had it for a long time. This was like when PayPal was still an eBay thing only. So there was no Facebook Pay or anything like that. And he would come over every month to pick up the bill money. And I was expecting him this night. And my dog and I had given up because usually he'd be coming over around 10:30, or that was the latest. He was usually there well before that, but it's probably like 11:30 at night. And I'd given up. My dog and I are laying in bed, and I was reading something on my phone. I know I was in my bed doing something. It was quiet, and I heard the back door open, and the dog heard it. And of course, we're laying in bed, and she would let me know if anybody came in the house. And she was like, she's laying with her head on the bed, and she's like, woof, woof. So I knew that she heard someone come in.
right.
And they walked through the house, they walked through my kitchen, they walked all the way up in front of my bedroom, and they stopped walking. And I was like, well, Josh is here. I guess I better put pants on. So I'm putting pants on, and I'm like, why isn't he talking? This guy is very boisterous and loud, like quite. When he's there, he announces that he's there, and I'm like, this is
Sure, like,
weird. Why is
hey,
it?
Jimmy, I'm here.
Yeah, exactly. Very loud person. And there was none of that. And I was like, that's weird. And so I opened the door, and there was no one there. But I could feel that there was someone
Okay,
there. Yeah.
right.
That's, I think, the most intense audible thing I've ever had happen.
Yeah, I had something similar when I was a teenager in the house that we lived in. Hi, Sir Spookfest. Um, I always felt like there was something there in the home, and that was the first time I ever heard an EVP with my own ears.
So you
It
heard it
was
aloud.
out loud in my
Okay.
ear, going upstairs to my bedroom, and I heard someone say my name in my ear. And I
Wow.
turned around, and I'm like, what the heck? But you could feel like somebody was behind you.
Hmm.
And I
Hmm.
was like, so the whole time living there, that I always had that feeling that somebody was behind me. but I only
Wow.
heard my name once living there, going up the stairs. So it was like, okay, yeah, exactly. You're thinking, what the heck was that?
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Did
the
that
thing
just
is, I
happen? Did anybody
it's
else hear it, or it was just you?
no, I was just me on the stairs. I'd come home from hanging out with my friends, and everybody else was in bed, and I'm going up the stairs, and I hear Laura, and I'm like, what the hell is
Huh.
that? So,
Yeah,
and
that's creepy.
you know, and I wasn't drinking that night, so I know
Okay.
wasn't that. So
Mhm. Well, I don't care how much alcohol I've had. I've never hallucinated from drinking
me neither.
alcohol.
No, me neither. So yeah, but you could feel, the heaviness behind you.
Hmm.
And like somebody was following me up the stairs, and then I heard my name right in my ear. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I just hurried up, got into bed.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's
the whole
crazy.
house had that, yeah, the house had that kind of heaviness. And I never got a chance to, when I get older, to investigate, because, we ended up moving, and they ended up knocking the house down. But it was one
Hmm.
of the oldest houses in the area.
Hmm.
So, and I never looked up the information on it either, because it
Yeah.
was all farm country. So it could have been like one of the farmers' houses, or something to that effect.
Anything else happened there?
Not really. Just like that. The heaviness was there every so often, and my name being called out once. Excuse me. And I never asked my sister if she felt anything, or knew
Mhm.
anything that was going on. Uh,
Well, still, that's a pretty cool story.
yeah, it's just, it was kind of strange. Let's see, Michael's got a story here. It says, the creepiest thing that happened to me lately was I was asleep, and it was about 3 a.m. and something out of got me up out of a dead sleep, and I heard my name in my ear and felt the breath. Wow.
Yeah, that's. I don't know if I would. I don't. I don't think I would be down with that. I think
Especially at welcome.
if something's in my bedroom up in my ear, being like, Jimmy, I I prefer it to be attached to a body.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
You know?
Well, recently we just had something happen here, because the house that I own now does have something here. And every now and then you'll hear something, and we always have, and we've just said, oh, okay, whatever, whatever. We just really don't acknowledge it. And
Mhm.
when the kids were younger, they said they've seen things in the doorways, dark
Yeah.
shadows, you know, uh, things being misplaced or whatever. Um, and it's, the heavy footsteps in the attic, from, walking the whole length. And it happens, yeah, around 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Because when I've had guests stay over, they would question me the next day, who the hell's walking around in your attic that, early in the morning? And I'd
Right.
be like, oh, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it. Well,
Mhm.
last week, my son's girlfriend, who's staying with us, just had surgery on her hand, and she was in bed, and she had the ice pack on it while sleeping, and she woke up to somebody squeezing the ice pack on her hand.
Huh.
And I'm like, oh, okay. I said, well, they were just checking to make sure that you were all right, and which
Right.
freaks her out. I said, don't worry about it. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
You'll be all right.
Yeah. Typically, I don't. I mean, I don't. I don't call myself a paranormal investigator. I investigate the claims that these people make, and or just investigate. I mean, anything really. It doesn't have to be paranormal. I've got some other ideas for some projects I'd like to do that are completely not paranormal. But if you're gonna, investigate, uh, do it thoroughly. And um, I don't know much, but I don't think that typically when you have something in your house, it's always something that's going to be after you. A lot of times I hear a lot of people talking about being able to coexist with their visitors or their residents or whatever. But I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, it really just depends on the personality of the person that has been left behind.
Right?
If
Yeah,
you're,
because we've been here over 20 years, and he's been here since day one.
mm,
And I'm assuming it's a he, because I did have, I mean, how much you can trust this, but I did have a medium tell me once. She says, well, you have a young gentleman that's at your home. I'm like, oh, okay. because I never said anything, mentioned anything. She just come right out of the blue and said that.
Right.
And she says, he's not here to cause you any harm. I said, well, I'm not worried about it. Okay, thanks. It's
Right.
I didn't, give her anything else to feed off of. So I'm thinking, okay, maybe she did know something. I don't know. But
Well, it is strange
right.
that she would just say that out of nowhere.
Yeah, she just come on and said, she goes, you have a young gentleman that's at your home. And I'm like, okay, yeah. Yeah, I didn't know that but okay.
Right, yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, everybody, has their experiences. Like he says, through Spook Fest. Have heard my grandmother, me and my sister sitting in the living room, and someone upstairs said, I'm not making that out.
Really? That's really? Maybe his name's
2
Nick.
weeks?
I don't know.
Or it could be. I don't know. It's a little scrambled there, but anyway.
He's got
it was
fat thumb syndrome on his
right.
Yeah.
Or me, I think the letter and I don't type it.
Uh-huh.
I'm terrible with that. All right, about 2 weeks after grandmother passed away, she always said that she would let us know that she is there. That is very common.
Yeah, and very sweet.
Yes.
I like hearing stories like that, where it's someone being like, I'm here, I'm watching, I never left,
That's nice to know that you have. Odd says, I've had paranormal experiences since I can remember, but I'm starting to question my memories. I need evidence.
I understand that.
Yeah, I think everybody does. They question, did it really happen?
Hello, Sky.
Hi, Sky. Welcome.
Cousin Sky. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like when you're dealing with something like that, just let it be, because there's no harm being done, and they'll move on when they feel that you're able to be alone, or whatever it is that they're hanging out for. A lot of times I don't think that. I don't know. It's all thoughts, but I don't know that I think that every spirit is bound here because it's afraid of facing judgment or something like that. We just, of course, you have to have theological beliefs in order to subscribe to that anyway. But who knows why they stick around? Who knows why anybody does anything? Ghosts are they're people, they're
right.
I don't know that they're invisible people walking around your house, but they are people.
You don't know. Hi, Bob. Welcome. And Rob is praising you, Jimmie. Everybody loves Jimmie.
Thank you. And I love everybody very much. It's really changed a lot about. I guess it's helped with my self-confidence in a lot of ways, being in this side of YouTube, learning about people that I'm somehow cathartic for them. People that have had a rough time or whatever, and they just, for some reason, people are relating to me somehow, and that's wonderful, because I'm just doing what I do. And if you get any value out of it, I love that.
Well, that's great. I think that's why all of us do what we do, is trying to find out answers, not just for ourselves, but for everybody else that has questions. And if we can help out, I think that's what the community is about, is helping out. And, I've run into a few that aren't so hot, people. And then, the rest of them are just fantastic. It's just, I think that's the way it goes. And because every community has its own share of drama. But I just kind of look past that and just move on to, the people that I really enjoy. You being one of them. You're so soft spoken, always so nice.
I appreciate
always so
it.
flattering.
Well, my mom raised a gentleman,
making me blush. But it's just very nice to be very nice to everybody and help everybody out. It's, just like you had said a lot of times, and I've said, we don't know everything.
We don't know anything.
You
We don't
know,
know anything.
it's true. Basically, we know nothing, but
Yeah.
what we do know as far as our own experiences and see, that's the thing. If I don't know something, I'm going to keep digging until I find out.
Mhm.
You know, when I hear somebody mentions something, I'll say, "Oh, wait a minute," I'll get online and I'll start digging. And I'll say, "Oh, okay." You know, it could be just like the simplest thing. You know,
Right.
like an old saying. Oh, well, who started that old saying? Where did that come from? And then
Yeah.
because those are things you just don't think about when you're younger. But then when you get older, like, well, who the hell made that up? Or where did that
Right.
come from? And, so I don't know. I don't even want to
Yeah.
call it nosy or whatever, but it's something I always do. And it annoys my husband sometimes.
Well, no, I think we're generally curious by nature, but why not learn those things? You know,
Right.
who was it that said when life hands you lemons, make a lemonade? It's a lemonade, not just make lemonade. I remember that very specifically because of my 5th grade teacher. But why? What?
Hi, Angelina. Welcome, welcome. Yeah,
She's
it's,
got another
it's,
story
let's
here.
see, did I miss it? Where did we?
No, I think it was up. I've heard him.
Okay. Yes. Oh, the one from Michael. Oh, yes.
Nice.
Said he had heard a female presence coughing in the back bedroom when not a single person but me is at the house. And the weird thing is, no one has died in this home.
Yes. Yeah, I've heard of stuff like that too. I don't think spirits are bound to one particular place. They probably could be. Again, I don't know. But when you hear stories like that, it's like, well, why is there something lingering here?
Right.
You know?
Even it might not even be the home. It just might be the property itself.
Yeah. Or the person.
Something, yeah. Or you could have picked it up along the way from somewhere. Now, like me, I was hanging out in cemeteries. Who knows what I'd bring home?
Right.
It's and a lot of people I know think that's weird, but it's history. And it's very interesting to walk through. You're right, Carla. Everybody's experience is personal.
Mhm. And it's a lot of times I think it's meant for that person. You know, you could have a profound experience and it might matter, like I said, profound to you, but you try to convey it to somebody and it doesn't strike them the same way it did for you.
Right. And it kind of fans of the paranormal together into a friendly yes. Yeah, I mean, even though a lot of people who are in this community might not have a strict faith base that they rely on. Hi, Cheryl. I don't know, I just think it is the individual choice.
Yeah.
I do have a strong faith background, so I do rely on it. I feel, because if I go into certain areas, I wouldn't go in there. I says, well, I don't go in alone. There's always somebody with me.
Right.
So, if you have that, that's great. And if it's not what you believe, that's fine too.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, you're welcome to believe what you believe or not believe if that's how you roll. Real quick, everybody in chat, hello. I'm not ignoring you. I see you. Bad to the
Hi,
bone.
Helena.
Of course, Rob and Cheryl and Faith. Faith said something funny earlier. She said I was what was it? The bad boy from the cool Breakfast Club bad boy.
Okay, I missed it. So it's going by quick. So it's
I know. It's all right.
I usually try to catch it all.
That's a good one. And special
And
ed.
I shout out to everybody. I always feel like what was that TV show where the romper bumper stopper boo, the lady with the mirror, and she'd yell out, say everybody's name. I don't know. I'm dating myself. I'm old. I
love that. The what was it? The what now? The rubber bobber stopper boo?
It was, oh geez. Romper bumper stopper boo. Tell me who. And something about, did you come to play or something? And it was like a mirror, but there was no glass in it. And she goes, oh, I see Jimmy and I see so-and-so. And I always used to wait for her to call out my name. She never called out my name.
Why wouldn't she? Laura, I would think Laura would be a name.
There you go. Romper room. She's right.
That's outstanding. I must have missed. I'll have to look at that.
So that's old. I mean, you're only 42.
Yeah. Only
42. I go back to 42. Of course, I don't care. I don't mind my age. Don't bother me at all. But it's not 42. See, it says, I was reading at night under the light of the candle because of the storm. I heard steps in the hallway. The door of the room was open and the dog began to growl at the shadow that stood at the door. Yes, it's amazing. Actually, I'm going to put in some, I don't know if you guys have seen, I put out the digital, the first issue of the digital magazine I put together. Was out on the 1st. And actually, this coming issue that I'm doing, I'm going to do some research about pets and the paranormal. Because I find that extremely interesting because my dog sometimes will go bananas in the front room and then run back into the kitchen and will not go back in the front room.
Right.
So, she's picking up something. So, yeah.
Would it be okay if I posted my Discord link in the chat?
You could put whatever you want.
Okay. Because people who have ghost stories like this, I have a Discord, and in that Discord, there's a thread that you can go and share in detail your ghost story. You can type it out, and if you'd like, I can read it aloud on my next Just Chatting Live, which happens every other Tuesday.
Oh, fantastic. Yes, do what you want.
Yeah. Oh, it says this comment has failed to post to Rawside Paranormal. Wonder maybe because it's a link.
I don't know.
Have to send it. Yeah, I have to send it to you directly. Or maybe one of the mods. Here, I've got Carla up. I'll go ahead and send it to her. Carla,
yeah, maybe she could post it.
If you can, you can post that for me. That'd be cool.
Excuse me.
But yeah, I don't know. I've had some other things, some other experiences happen. I get that too. Of course, I'm a smoker.
It's because we're talking too much.
Yeah, right. But yeah, I've had some other experiences. I had I used to, when I first started recording, I was recording with like a 4-track recorder, which was a cassette recorder. It was made by Tascam. It was called a Porta Studio. And I was in this house all alone. It was actually, remember when I said when I was little, I lived in this one house, and then we moved from that house to the house I grew up in. Well, I bought the house that it was in my family. I bought it, and I lived there during my early 20s.
Right.
And so I'm alone in this house, and I remember I was upstairs, and I didn't have a lot of equipment. So if I wanted reverb, I needed to stand in a reverby room. So I went into the bathroom where there was a lot of reverb. And I'm singing, and you're all right. I'm singing and I'm writing lyrics and stuff. And so I would sing, and then I would stop and I would listen to it. And I noticed that when you would stop recording, the microphone would open up and you could hear the room. Now, a room has like a hiss to it that you don't notice unless you're listening to it through headphones. And there's this hiss going on, just this like, and underneath that hiss, I could hear what sounded like 2 men and a woman talking to each other. And I was listening. I was confused. I'm listening, and I'm like, this doesn't sound like radio. This doesn't sound like TV. It's dead. It was. I mean, I was in the middle of town, but it was in the middle of the night at like 3:30 in the morning. 4 o'clock, somewhere around there. So there weren't. Again, the town was asleep.
Right.
And I go, I can hear you. And they stopped talking when I said that. And I heard one of them go, he can hear us. And I took the headphones off my head.
No way.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, that happened. That really
is really cool.
Now, I mean, was the government listening to me? And I happened to, I mean, chances are, I don't know. Right? Yeah, I don't know what that was, but that one put chills on me.
Oh well, yeah, what did it to me too?
When he can hear us. That was when my stomach dropped.
That's too freaky. That's amazing. Michael says, I am a Christian, but I don't go to church because people frown upon the term paranormal investigator. Yes, they do. Because actually part of, I know the Catholic, I might say Christian as well. Their belief is that we shouldn't be trying to contact people who have passed on. And also it could be opening up a door that we don't want to open.
Right.
I think there's too many taboos with that. You know, 'cause especially even if you're not involved in it, like you said, when you have people that come and visit you from your, you know, your own family, and you know it's who it is, why would they come and visit you then if it's such a terrible thing?
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, so I don't think there's anything bad, you know, when you acknowledge that they're in the room,
Right.
and it's human nature. We're curious. If you have
Sure.
something like that happens to you, you're going to want to know, okay, what happens to us when we evolve to that higher form of being? You know, because that's what I believe. I believe that when we leave this, you know, this shell,
Hmm.
this vessel, we are changing into pure energy and we're evolving into a higher form of life. And okay, so what happens after or while that's going on
Yeah.
or after that? And why, like you said, why do people choose to remain here?
Hmm.
What is their reason?
Yeah. I believe I have, like I said, I grew up Christian, um, and I don't have a denomination now, just like the comment earlier about non-denominational. I don't really follow anything in particular. I just know what my experience is with whatever God is. I do call it God. But I also call it the universe. I think they're one and the same thing. Like,
I think so too.
yeah, like when you hear of the law of attraction, and they often refer to it as the universe. I think they're talking about the same thing. But I don't think it's this tyrannical, angry, jealous person in the clouds. I don't think that's what it is. I think it's
Right.
we as humans, we want to humanize things in order to understand them.
That's pretty much how it works. Yeah.
Yeah.
Quick,
And
quick say hi, Julie. Hi, Jeff. We're falling up behind a little bit, so I'm trying to catch up. Thank you for the
sorry.
compliment, Helena. No, but I agree with you because if you do believe in a creator, he created everything and the universe. So, you know, if you're
Mhm.
going to believe, you know, and because I've had this argument, I don't know if you guys know, I am a minister. So, but I'm,
Okay.
you know, I'm an independent. So it's I welcome all faiths to come and discuss things with me because I find it interesting because I don't think that there's just one truth
Right. Right.
in one group. I believe that every group has truth in it. They just, you know, put it out in a different way.
Hmm.
And I think that's the way we learn is by sharing instead of, you know, segregating one another.
That's exactly
Uh,
right. That's
yeah,
exactly it. I think that what you and I are doing right now is that it's God, and having the chat and all of that. We're here to ask questions. God made us curious for a reason. If we believe that God made us, he eh, I mean, he made us curious for reasons. There has to be a reason for that. Another
right,
really interesting thing is that if we were just a little further away, or a little closer inward in the galaxy than we are, our sky would be so littered with starlight that we wouldn't be able to see space the way that we see it with our eyes. And I think that says something, because you look up at the sky and you have all these questions. You're meant to observe. You're meant to observe. And yeah, I don't think any one denomination or person has all the answers, but I think you're if you're curious enough and you find things that make sense to you and you start, I don't know, acting on those things, you might be surprised what may or may not reveal itself to you.
pretty much how, you know, I look at it as well. And a lot of people are offended because they're strictly by the book. And
Yeah,
I don't think we can go through life strictly by the book.
yeah,
It's just not the way life works. Hi,
yeah.
Julie R. Welcome, welcome. Hi, Mike. Just getting caught up on everybody. Odd has a question. Can the Discord be saved beneath the live once finished? Because my phone, nay, Discord. That would be Jimmy's answer. I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't
I'll
have Discord.
I'll provide a link. I'll provide the link, and Laura can put it in the description afterwards, or she can put it in right now. I mean, actually,
I
I
think
mean,
didn't
well,
Carla do it? I think Carla did it.
yeah, Carla put it in there. We'll get it up. We'll get it up
Okay.
there for you. We'll get it up there for you somehow, or you can come to my channel and find it there too.
Just we'll get it up there, guys.
Yeah.
And let's see if we got any more. Pulp, if you remind me, I'll put it in a comment after the show. Okay, Boo said she would put it in a comment after the show.
Oh, cool. Very cool.
So, like I
Thank
said,
you.
either way, one of the wonderful mods will get it out there.
Yes. Boo is a great mod. She mods for me too.
I'm yes, I've got her, and I've got a few, but not all of them always show up, and so I'm really happy when they do.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I know it's
Boo-
because of hours. The hours are strange, and it's
right. Everybody lives somewhere
these
different.
poor people. I wonder when the hell they get any sleep. Oh God,
I know,
just
right?
on everyone, and it's just amazing. So that's why I always give a shout out to a mod every month in the magazine, because they really deserve the recognition. So everybody, whoever's a
Absolutely.
mod, eventually you will end up in the magazine.
Absolutely.
Let's see. Helena says, I agree 100% with you, Laura. We are energy. I just don't know what happens after we pass away, who stays or who moves on. Exactly. And and the reason why do we stay? Is it because you loved life so much that you're holding on to it? This life, or it could be maybe some kind of tragedy. Like when Carla does the true crime stories. Maybe, God forbid, you're murdered violently, and that violence was never, found out, or the murderer was never found out. And so it's an unsolved case. Maybe they're staying around because they want, justice, want somebody to find out what happened to them. I mean, it could be anything.
Yeah. We've got Steve from Nocturnal Frequency Radio in here. Hello.
Eve. Like I said, I'm behind, guys. I'm going to try to catch up.
It's all right. It's all right. I love Steve. Steve is the first person to ask me onto his show. Like what we're doing right now. He was the first person to ever ask me, and it was very flattering, and it was a good hang. That's where I met Jeff, who's absolutely out of his mind, and I kind of like it. And they're both good people. Both good people.
Yeah, I love Steve. I was trying to catch Steve. I had Steve on once, and we had such terrible internet issues. So, I apologize again, Steve. I got to have him on again to make up for it. Let's see. Odson's. I look into all religions to understand culture and people. Yes, I believe we have to do that. If you're going to have any kind of religious belief, I think it's actually every individual's responsibility to look at all of the beliefs, research them. And I learned that a long time ago, believe it or not, from a monk that used to be on EWTN. If you guys ever have tuned into that Catholic network, it was a show he had on, and he come right out and said that he has visited all different denominations and learned from each. And that's how we discover some kind of whole structure on our base beliefs. And you have to be open to that. When you close that door, you're missing out on a lot.
Yeah. Yeah. That was the thing when I would ask questions like that in church. I was always immediately shut down.
Yes.
Jesus is the only answer, which I don't disagree but at the same time, it's like, well, it seems to me that most religions tell the same story. They just have different names, and it's like, well, perhaps this is from some sort of truth, like the idea of whatever it may be. But to say you don't need any other answers other than what's in this book is very close-minded, to say the least. Yeah.
Like I said, I'll be a mod for you. Oh, thank you. I don't know how to do it while I'm on the show, but I'll do it afterwards. Thank you, because I don't want to end up pushing the wrong buttons. Someday I'll figure it out, guys. Oh, hey, Jonathan, debunk the junk. Here we go. John's got some words of wisdom here. Any organized religion that would deny exploration of the fundamental meanings of life has another agenda. We should be concerned about. We were created to experience life, in my opinion. And no, and there's truth in those words. There is, Jonathan. Because there is, of course, I don't know how we got into the subject, but yeah, yes, they try to. It's a control issue.
Right.
With most organized religions, you can only do this or that. If not, you have to get out.
Yeah.
And if that's the way it is,
that is not the teachings of Jesus, who they, you know what I mean? It's so hypocritical.
So that's why they got to, when you close that door, then that's a control issue. And I don't think that's what it's about,
Mm-hmm. I hope we didn't
I always say
off
that
of all the theology talk. I
know,
always get weird about it, but sometimes I just try to say what I have to say and then just try to move on. I don't like.
Yeah, because I don't normally do it either, because a lot of people will get ticked off.
Yeah.
But it's sometimes it comes up.
Right. I mean, when we're dealing with a subject, it's going to come up.
Right.
Especially
this, because this is pretty much taboo for most religious beliefs.
Sure.
And
I think that's one of the reasons why I stayed away from it for so long, because I battled with that,
Yeah, a lot of people say that's why they stay away. All right, let's see. We've got Steve says Alan Watts was always interesting to listen to. Sadly, he is no longer with us. I do not know who that is. Do you know who that is?
I do. Yeah, he was a very what's the word? I could just say he was a smart man, but I'm trying to be more of a wordsmith with it. He was just he was very he had amazing insight on just what it meant to be a human. And when you listen to him talk, or you read the books and stuff that he put out, it was very very interesting, and it will definitely get you to ask questions. It may, I mean, very powerful stuff, the guy would say.
Definitely have to look that up. See, something I'll have to look up. I don't catch everything. Don't catch everybody. But yeah, it's like I said, when you get into this kind of topic, it does piss a lot of people off.
Sure.
Especially when I come out and say, religion. I don't consider myself religious. I consider myself spiritual, because religion is corrupted by man.
That's right.
It's a known fact, and so if you're not allowed to believe and serve God in your own way and have restrictions, then you need to just go somewhere else. And do your own thing. Yeah.
I don't need to hear about how I'm a sinner and I'm going to hell because I don't believe in what you believe in.
Right. That's pretty much a lot of them, and it's sad to say, but but that's what it is. That's how they controlled them, back in the old day. You have to do that, and the people were terrified. Oh God, no! I've got to do what the Father says, or Bishop Bob, or whatever the hell his name was.
Bishop Bob, that son of a bitch.
So it's it is what it is. I mean, I think you should have the freedom to believe what you want to believe. And I have no judgment on anybody on any of their beliefs. So unless it's a cult type deal thing, then I've got some issues. Because when you control people and their complete mindset and how they live, then you gotta kick it to the curb, because
absolutely,
I don't go for that. Let's see. Oh, there you go. Steve said it. It's all about controlling the herd, and he is right.
100%.
And then when you're not, you're the black sheep, and it's the sinner.
Right. Get him out. Burn the witch.
Yeah, there you go. Oh boy, we're all in trouble. They're gonna get us all. Okay, let's pop it back over to the subject that we were discussing. Everybody has their own style of investigating. And you say that you don't consider yourself an investigator.
No, well, paranormal investigator, I wouldn't say that.
Okay, a paranormal. Okay, but did you have a specific style or just a way that you do or conduct this research? How about that? The research that you're
Sure.
looking for.
I guess I went where the documentary took me. When it started out, it was like, okay, I'm gonna look into this guy, and I'm gonna have him answer questions for me, and um, I guess it wasn't until I started looking in further, because I let him tell me what I just let him talk. I let Kent talk. And then you pick up information from him talking. And then obviously, I remember the things that he said. And so I went and searched those things out, such as David Sear, or him telling me this house used to be the funeral home, which it never was. And I had to search those things. So I just let him tell me the story, and then just checked it, and the internet is the best resource you can have for a lot of this stuff, people from the town, being able to tell me stuff about, like Marvin Graves, the town historian, the man that funded the building and put it all together with his wife. And then they had they were so good at research, and it was like, all I had to do was just ask him questions. And if there was anything I needed to double check, I could look in the book that they had written, which was all factual stuff. It wasn't, these were people that love the town and want to get it right. So, I think about the credibility. I reached out to the town manager to talk to him, which he
Right?
sadly passed away recently. He wouldn't talk to me. He wouldn't return my phone calls. He didn't want any part of it, no matter what I was doing, because I don't think that anybody knew where the documentary would go, the amount of truth that came out, and what kinds of truth were coming out. So I don't really blame him for not wanting to be a part of it. It's too bad, but at the same, you'll have that. You'll have people who aren't interested in talking, And I wanted to talk with Kent's wife and his family, and Kent was like, "No, that's not going to happen."
Right?
So he was stonewalling me, and he was trying to direct the narrative, So yeah, I guess for me it was just, I let the documentary tell me what I needed to be looking into, and my sister, she's been working with a police department. She's been doing crime scene analysis and stuff like that, and I've learned a lot of things from her. And my father, he was always really good in research. My father he had radio shows. He was a radio DJ. That's really where the main inspiration for Into the Night came from, was growing up with my father, who he worked at a prison. He worked at the Plainfield Correctional Facility. RDC was his reception diagnostic center. So all the newcomers, he basically took care of them. That was his night shift job. And then from 9 o'clock in the morning till 1 o'clock in the afternoon, he had a radio show, and he played big band music, but he also did a lot of remote work. And in his early days, he had a show called Beyond Belief, which is funny because there's so many shows called that. I remember
Right.
Jonathan Frakes, I think, had one called Beyond Belief too. And on that, he talked about mysterious things. And I just there was a story about a guy who he was a radio guy, and he would take a nap every night before his radio show. And this one night in particular, he was having a dream, and there was a specific song. Let me look it up real quick. But there was a specific song, and he could hear people screaming. And the song was "Nearer, My God, to Thee." That was the name
Right?
of the song that he could hear. And what was happening was, I think 2,000 miles away, I believe in the Atlantic Ocean. I could be wrong. I don't you can fact check me on that. The Titanic had struck an iceberg and was sinking. And the song that the band played as the Titanic sank was Nearer, My God, to Thee.
Yes.
Yeah. And anyway, that was just something, I remember my dad doing that, and of course, he had his own little library, and that was how he did research on stuff. So, plus I have another YouTube channel that I've had for 10 years. It's a video game channel, and I did a lot of research on stuff like video game history and things like that. And that was really kind of where I learned whatever you want to call my investigative, I wouldn't call it talent, but just how to do it, I guess.
Right.
How I
Right.
do it anyway.
Well, see, that's what you
Sorry,
must
that
have
was
inherited. You inherited your DJ voice from your father, apparently. Jimmy
yeah,
said, Jimmy, you have such a DJ sound in your presentation.
I appreciate that.
He's got the smooth DJ voice.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah. It was fun growing up with a dad in radio. It was a lot of fun.
You can start singing like some Barry White or something.
I can get low, and I can get high.
See? There you go. Do a little Barry White for everybody.
Yeah, well, not today.
Not today. What's Jim say? All right. I always tell him he gives good voice. Oh, jeez.
I just can't help it, man. Yeah, I enjoy doing the interview stuff. That's like I said, he influenced me. Art Bell was a big influence for that show.
Loved
as well.
Art Bell, yeah.
That's the whole call-ins at the end. That's really where I got that from, was because that made the show so much more fun. When people, because you don't know what you're going to get, and then when you have people like Hair Force showing up in a mask that looks like a penis and asking questions, it's like, this is why I do this. This is fun.
Yeah. Yeah. I'll leave that one alone.
Yeah.
Well. When you do your investigating and or investigations, what kind of equipment do you bring, if any? Pretty much, what is your favorite to bring, and how much do you depend on the equipment itself?
I don't say okay. So I love EVPs. So for me, it's all about having a good recorder. And I have a Tascam. I think it's called I want to say it's like I can't remember, DR6 maybe. What's the Panasonic one that everyone hates? The DD50 or something like that, or something 60.
The DR60.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, mine's just like a digital recorder, but it's the number 6, I think. That's what DR stands for.
Yeah, DR60. We were right.
Yeah, right. Yeah, but mine is a Tascam, and it's not that one. It's a very nice one. I love recording stuff. So yeah, cameras. That's I've got a T3i. I've got very minimal equipment and a spirit box. Now I don't put much stock into spirit boxes or apps or the Ovulus. Some interesting things have happened. I was able, with Teshi's help, to debunk the Ovulus calling my name in the second episode. So in the third episode, there's going to be some debunking going on of myself. I mean, after all, I spent all this time in the second episode debunking Kent. It's my turn to be debunked. So, but I'm willing to try anything. I'm willing to try and see, because Luke brought this thing called the yes/no box, and it just works from EMF, and it'll light up yes or it'll light up no, and it's like it's got big buttons on it that show yes and no. It's not like the prism or the pyramid or whatever. Is it faulty? Probably. I don't know much about it, to be honest with you. again, I'm not very seasoned as a paranormal investigator, but the spirit box does say some interesting things sometimes. You know, the whole thing where it was like he used a gun. I'm still very um, uh, just surprised by that, because I didn't know the story that Kent was talking about at the time. And you know, he says, you know, Bob, do you remember who killed you or whatever? It was something along those lines. And I hear he used a gun, and it really, even when I listen back to it in the recording, that's exactly what it sounds like to me. And then it turned out that this guy Bob McKee had been shot 3 times back in like 1975. I found that just fascinating, but I can't say yes, this is a sure means to speak to the dead. You know, I can't do that, but I do have fun with it. And you know, when you're doing research properly and you go back and you have something like that, that makes it a little bit more interesting when stuff like that kind of pops out, rather than just hearing a name or, you know, any number of other things that you could potentially be setting yourself up for. I had no expectations at this point, because this is the second day and I'm already very, very, very skeptical of Kent on the second day. You know, like first day, it was like I was watching him, but day 2, I was like eagle eye on that guy. And, you know, there's a scene when we're in the basement where, you know, Kent's at it again with, I just heard a voice, and Luke and I had talked about this, and Luke, God bless him, he's so good with the camera. He thought to look at me whenever that happened. And you can see it in my face that I'm just like,
Mhm.
you know, yeah. So yeah, I don't know. I don't really, I don't know. I'm willing to try things, but I don't really have any go-tos necessarily. Again, I'm very new. For me, EVPs all the time. Like that, and I know the difference between audio pollutants in the room and what I perceive to be EVPs, because
To be
EVPs have a
authentic.
particular, yeah, they have a particular sound.
Yeah.
EVPs
Okay,
sound
Jeff,
out
thanks
of
for stopping
phase.
in. Yeah, you do have let's see. Steve says he swears by my H2 and H4 recorders.
I don't know what those are.
I don't have those either. I just have a plain old digital recorder.
Yeah,
Just turn it on, nothing fancy.
that's
Like I
really
said,
all you need, I think.
yeah, I got my first EVP. It was a cassette tape, you know, like the
Oh, cool.
Walkman. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's I had that on tape. But
That's awesome. Do you still have it?
yeah, I do still have it.
Oh, cool. You should digitize that and put it
I
on the
don't
channel
know how
sometime.
to do that.
Ah,
Because I was going to have somebody do it for me, and I don't know how to do it. And the tape is just in a drawer,
okay.
and it's just one, you know,
Well, I
it
tell you
says
how you
"Get
do it.
out." You know, you
If
hear
you
"Get out" on her.
Your digital recorder should have an input on it, does it? Does it have like an input
Yes,
jack? Okay.
yeah,
Not an output, it's an input, right?
right.
Okay. So put that cassette, put it in a Walkman or whatever, and from the headphone out, hook that jack into your input and push record on your digital recorder, push play on your cassette recorder, and it'll digitize it for you.
All right, thank you. I'm going to have to dig it out and check it out.
Innovation. That's what I do.
Oop, yeah, I got to go to the school of Jimmie. Kent's house is haunted, but he fabricates a lot as well and told so many lies. A strange guy indeed.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I believe at this point I still believe his house has something going on there. Specifically because of the EVPs, the shadow that I captured was really interesting, and then it turned out that on day 3 I captured another shadow that I'm curious about. I didn't notice it at first, but Luke and I, while I was questioning Luke for episode 3, we watched through day 3, and a shadow showed up in the same room. I tend to I really want to throw the guy a bone, even though I've caught him in lie after lie, and he continues to lie about things. and he came after me and called me a liar and all this. I still want to give the guy a chance,
Right.
you know.
Yeah, well, here Steve says, Rob, most well-known locations fabricate a lot of their myths scantily. It's the truth. Just like with, that whole hot mess with the Conjuring house. Ay, ay, ay. And now it's not even about the house anymore. It's all turned personal. But I did remember watching, when I was watching the documentary, and I'm a people watcher. So, I've always have been. I used to just go to the mall and sit there with a drink and just watch people as they go by, how they behave, how they present themselves. It's just, and
Sure.
when I was watching your documentary, I noticed that, that guy I go, God, it's just something about him. And you always trust your gut when you're that first impression and your gut tells you, the red flag starts going up.
That's right.
You go with it.
Yeah.
So like you said, it might be haunted, but he's just adding to it.
Yeah, well, he's sensationalizing is what he's doing. He's and he's faking things. He's 100% flat out faking things. And I will die on that hill, and it's too bad because he really could have had something if he just would have gone the route of integrity,
Right.
but not in his nature apparently, which is too bad because
well, I think it's because he figured, I put it all on YouTube and I could make some money off of it. And maybe have people come to the location, then I could start charging. And there's all
he didn't charge me. I'll say that. He didn't ask me for any money. I think what it was just exposure. It was getting exposure because the more exposure you have, the more people that come out and put it on their channel, then people are going to go looking for his channel. And the more that happens, the more revenue you get that way,
Right.
I mean, he was on the news in Maine, and which I posted at the beginning of the second episode. And he says, I didn't put it on there, but he says that one of the reasons why he doesn't monetize is because it would basically just screw up everything. If he monetized, it would make it to where he wasn't credible anymore. But he was monetized when he said that. He didn't realize that years later there would be tools to be able to look that stuff up, and it's like he's lied through his teeth since day one, which again, I'm saying very strong things. I'm saying them. Laura is not saying them. I want to make sure that if there are any Kent lurkers in here, which they do follow me around, that they understand I'm the one that's saying these things.
Okay, everybody waves.
Yeah, hi.
I'm not worried about it.
I know, but still, I like to
you have your own opinion.
Yeah.
Everybody's entitled to their own opinion on this channel.
Yeah.
The only thing that everybody gets the boot is if you get bashed or rude or
Yeah.
It's or just downright weirdo that you're out. So it's
well, I'm a weirdo, but I'm not a dangerous weirdo. So
it's safe space. Well, we're all weird in our own way. If you're not, then if you're part of what we do and you're not weird, there's something wrong with you. Put it that way. Search Foos Fest says, just a recorder. Well, that's pretty much, I find it just the basic, camera and recorder. I mean, if you're going to catch something, you're going to catch it. It's.
Yeah, I'm also interested in this stuff that Matt Benton's been doing with the Mag 94 sensor, I think is what it's called, the MagTech sensor. It's really interesting because it detects, not only does it detect EMF, but it detects where it's coming from by pitch. So when you move this thing, it hums, and the closer you get to the source of the EMF, it gets louder. And I think it's a brilliant tool.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
Well, because I figured, I've had other people on the program. One of the, I think it was like the second show I did or something. And Kale, in Arizona, has an extensive background in paranormal investigating, but he's pretty much a sound guy, an audio guy.
Mm-hmm.
And he really focused on EVPs, and they have some incredible EVPs. And that's because he did an adjustment, because he figured that the supernatural they're on a different frequency than we are.
Mm-hmm.
So he had, fixed his equipment to do that adjustable, frequency. And the stuff he's picked up is amazing.
That's awesome. I'd really like to talk to him because I am also an audio person. I spend a lot of time
yeah, I'll hook
recording.
you up.
Yeah, that's really interesting to me because I've had thoughts. I've learned to say that they're thoughts and not theories since I've talked to Kenny.
Kenny's a party pooper.
I love it though.
He's great though. Yeah, he's great. Yeah.
He brings you back down, back to reality.
Well, yeah, he grounds you so that you don't, get lost in the bullshit.
Yeah. But yeah, I'd like to talk with him because I have some thoughts about that. Like I was saying earlier, EVPs have a specific sound. They sound out of phase. And I know that he would know exactly what that means. Phasing is something that happens when you're recording with two microphones, the same object, but you've got the microphone placement wrong. And the sound waves are hitting the microphones at two different, because waves, they go like this, right? The sound waves, they move like this. So you will hit one microphone at the apex of the wave and the other at I can't remember what the bottom's called, but at the bottom of the wave. And when that happens, it does something really weird to the sound. And that's how EVPs sound. They sound out of phase like that.
Right. Oh yeah, no, not a problem. I'll hook you up because he's actually my cousin's husband.
Oh, cool.
And him and her had done paranormal stuff for years until they ended up bringing something bad home with them. And to protect his family and his children, he got out of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, he'll have no problem talking with you. He loves it. He loves to talk about all of that. Like I said, sound and all that stuff.
Somebody I can geek out with.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He loves it. Right now I'm discussing with him about the incidents in Arizona with the UFO sightings. They have just been on the uprise.
Okay.
And I'm hoping maybe to get him to come back on and do a show about that and discuss the pictures that were posted in June. Pretty interesting photographs. I sent them to Kenny. Kenny said he pretty much thinks it's a reflection or has something to do with the camera lens itself, because there was really no light reflecting up into the clouds. But when I re-looked at the photographs, to me, it looked like there was some reflection in the clouds of the light that these supposed spaceships were, putting out. So yeah, a lot of questions about that one.
Well, I'd like to hear what he has to say about the Phoenix Lights.
So, he'll be on that too. He's more into now. Basically, I have no idea how the hell they actually. I forgot how he said they got into the paranormal, but he basically is more centered on UFO side of the unknown. He finds it a little more interesting.
Yeah.
But at one point they were actually the part of the Taps family. They were the Arizona chapter.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So like I said, they did a lot of investigations of all places there in Arizona, and the EVPs he has are incredible.
That's cool.
So yeah, he'd be willing to share them with you or play them right while you guys are having the chat. So yeah, I'll go hook up the two of you. You guys have just one hell of an audio time.
Yeah. But and even still, I'm looking for somebody to bring EVPs onto the show because did you ever listen to Art Bell?
All the time. As a kid, all the time.
Do you remember the EVP shows that they'd bring this group on from Utah called the GIS? It was Brendan Cook and Barbara Macbeth. They brought in amazing EVPs, and I'm friends with Brendan Cook on Facebook, so I've reached out to him to see if I can't get him to come on sometime, and if I can't get him, even if I can, I'd still like to talk to what was his name? Kale, like the spinach.
Yep.
Okay. All right. Yeah, easy to remember.
Kale Kelly.
Okay.
Yes, very smart, very he actually used to have a radio program. I forgot what it was. To be honest, I'd have to look it up. I forgot what it used to. He doesn't do it anymore. And then I got him to come back on, so he had to hook all his equipment back up. So he did the first couple of shows with me. That I did my first couple of videos.
Okay.
I had him on, and I plan on dragging him back on again.
Yeah, that would be a good show. I would tune into that.
Yeah, I'm like, they could be experiments. See, that's what it is. That's what I want to. I want to dig around and see what people are saying about it, because they're interesting photographs, and they could be bullshit. You know how that usually works, but or they might not be.
Right.
So I think we need to just do a little research, do some digging, and see what the hell we find out.
Yeah, it's the might not be that makes it so interesting.
Exactly. Steve says we've had Christopher Belzano a few times on the show over the years talking about the Bridgewater Triangle.
I've heard of the Bridgewater Triangle. I haven't. I'd have to refresh because I've heard so many stories.
It's in Massachusetts. That's what next week, all the Bridgewater Triangle, Massachusetts.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard of it. I think it's like an area. It's a hot spot. I'm pretty sure it's a hot spot where a lot of UFOs are seen.
There's just been such a higher, display of activity, because you'd never heard about this stuff, years ago. Now all of a sudden, somebody farts and it's a UFO shooting across the sky. So, I mean, I know the government hid a lot of stuff from us, and because we weren't smart enough to handle it. But
I've always been interested in UFOs, and now it's one of those things where I think a lot of people who have had sightings are becoming validated. I think that's happening. What it is, I mean, it's the government telling us that they don't know what it is. We know that the government lies. So they probably know exactly what it is. There's all kinds of stories that they actually do know exactly what it is. But, is it something from somewhere else? At this point, we don't know. I think one of the reasons why I'm so passionate on the other side of the paranormal with ghosts is because we're not being validated over here.
Right.
Even when it comes to like ghost adventures and these shows that are on TV, and of course the many fakery YouTube channels there are, it's just it's being made a mockery of by those people and the fakers and all that, and that it's the government is not saying we think ghosts are real. They're saying there's something in the sky that we don't understand. And
because I've had my own UFO experience as a teenager. Clear day, blue sky, no cloud anywhere. Walking back to this was my husband and I were dating, and walking back to my home, and just having to look up in the sky, and there was this dark gray disc just sitting there, not moving, not floating, just sitting in one spot. And I made a joke. I said, "Oh God, here come the aliens! They're coming to take us away." Because I'm a Trekkie, so that was a big thing for me. Oh, look, the Vulcans are coming.
Right.
And we stood there for 15 minutes watching this thing. It didn't move. I'm thinking, okay, and we didn't know there's no cell phones then, so you couldn't take a picture or nothing. So then we decided, oh, the heck with this, we got to go. We turn around, took about 5 steps, turned back around, looked back up, it was gone. Nowhere in the sky to be found. No smoke trail, no nothing.
Wow.
So what the hell was that?
Almost as if it was watching you right back.
Exactly, because that's why I made the joke. I go, "Oh God, they're coming to get us," and they tell my husband, "That's not funny." I go, "Oh no, I think it's funny," but I always do stuff like that to him, and he's that ain't funny. See, Michael says, "Hey Jimmy, I got a picture. I'm going to show you later. I was sky watching one night, and I didn't see the object with my eyes, but after took the picture, I saw the triangle-shaped object going to the."
What
That
is
was all I
that?
got in that message. Did I miss something?
I
It's
can't
not
tell what that
sure.
emoji is. It looks like corn and a moon on top of an ice cream cone.
Okay.
I don't think that's what that is, but that's what I see. Either way, yeah, share it with me, Mike. Moon. Oh, it's a moon on top of the ice cream cone? Okay, fair enough.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he was outside with me last year with that UFO that I caught. See, I'm catching photographs. And they can't keep, blowing smoke up our ass and say, "Oh, it's a weather balloon." Yeah, okay.
Right.
It's
No, it's not.
always a weather balloon, or it's a.
The story about the gimbal. You know that story with
I don't.
David Fravor. He was a pilot, okay, and he was like a Top Gun pilot, and they were out doing some sort of routine, like a drill is what they call them, and David's
Hi,
looking at him,
Karen.
and he sees what looks to be like a cross of whitewater in the ocean, and he sees this tic tac thing go down over it, and it's ping ponging around. It's moving like a ping pong
Oh
ball.
no, I didn't hear this one. Yeah.
Yeah, this is insane. This is crazy. They're like it's, and then he's like, "Well, I'm going to get a closer look at it," and so he's going down, and as he's going down, this thing starts mimicking his maneuvers, going up. So they meet at some point, and it just takes off, and they're like, "Well, what the hell? Where'd that go?" And then he gets a radio in. He says, "Cap, you're never going to believe this. It's at your rendezvous point, 60 miles away." That quick. And it was at their rendezvous point, and these are Top Gun jet fighters. This is not public information. How would this thing know where their rendezvous point was? It's very interesting. It's a really interesting story.
Yeah, that is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Hi, Karen. Welcome. I did see that you sent me a message, hon, but I can't. I was going to answer it after the show was over. So I did see it. Let's see here. What we got? The response from the constellation of Sagittarius is called the wow response. Because the people who heard it said, "Wow." I remember reading that. Correct me if I'm wrong, though.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I don't know that they heard it. It was numbers that weren't the regular numbers. I don't know if I could be wrong. There could be some audio to that, but from what I understand, it was numbers that they were getting, and they were that it was not. It never happened again, which is another reason why it's so interesting. Because if it was something that was natural that was happening, you would have it happen again, but it never did. Yeah, I've fallen down the UFO rabbit hole too, because my mother, again, she told me about when she was little, she saw my grandmother and her were coming home from the grocery store, and grandma said to her, which I never met her, but grandma said to my mom, "Sarah, look out the window and look at this. No one's going to believe me." And above the farm, about 100 feet up, was this burning orange, glowing like disc. When I say burning, it was like, that's how bright. It was this orange yellow thing that was just sitting there. And it just took off eventually, but it sat very much like what you're saying. It didn't move or it wasn't hovering where, like
It's
when
just
something's
like somebody
hovering.
just stuck it there, and it's
Right.
it.
It was just sitting still. Yeah. So I've been into UFOs for a long time too. And I've often thought about calling out the fakers on the UFO stuff too, because a lot of that's very easy to spot. One of my favorite debunkers is a guy named Captain Disillusion. He's phenomenal because he's a lot like Purple, where he his job is graphic. Well, I don't know that Purple is a graphic designer when it comes to like CGI and stuff, but Captain Disillusion, that's his job. That's what he does. And so he can spot and he can recreate things and show you how it's done. It's a very awesome channel to check out if you want to see stuff. He showed do you remember the pantry ghost? You remember that? The early days of YouTube? It's actually the very first clip that I show on my first episode. It's this white door with a glass, kind of frosted glass in it, and you see this girl pop up to it. And he showed exactly how that was done and did it himself. And it's when you can see a debunker that has such skill like that,
Yeah, that's amazing. It
yeah.
is. Thanks for hanging out with us, Steve, and all of your wonderful information. Have fun editing.
Yes.
It's always nice when Steve can pop in and hang out with us. Yeah, everybody actually does. They have all their own ghost stories, their own, UFO stories. It's just applesauce. Okay, hi, welcome.
I love applesauce.
Me too, especially homemade.
Yeah. Big fan. Applesauce and spaghetti, man. You get
Really?
you get yourself a nice hot plate of spaghetti and say it's like you're so hungry you're gonna eat it anyway because it burns your mouth. It's like, oh my god, it's fucking hot. You just put yourself a mouthful of applesauce in there. It takes care of it right now.
I've never heard of anybody having applesauce with spaghetti.
That's the way to go.
I know I could try it. My husband would look at me like I'm nuts. What the hell are you doing? I would say, has anyone debunked the Battle of Los Angeles that happened during World War II?
Yes. There are a lot there. I mean, there's plenty of videos of actually the Y Files, WHY, phenomenal channel, love them. They did an episode on that. I believe the Basement Office also did an episode on that. I could be mistaken, but if anybody watches Watcher, which is Shane and Ryan from BuzzFeed, they have their own channel called Watcher now. They did they have a show called Mystery Files, and I think they did an episode on it as well. That's a great story, but sadly, probably not a UFO. It was probably just people being scared because Pearl Harbor had just happened.
Right.
So, Chad Kalick, okay.
Yeah, everybody's got a little bit of information there. Hi, Not Too. How are you? Welcome back. And Michael said that he sent it to you on your Discord.
Yes, I'm looking at it. I'll have to talk to you privately about that, sir. We'll talk privately about it.
January this year, I was on a plane above the French border with Spain and saw the shadow of a triangular shaped, just levitating beside the plane. Then we passed it.
That is scary. When you're
That's why I
in
don't
the
fly.
sky,
No.
yeah. When you're in the sky with it, like, dude, when I was
You
flying
just gave
to
me another
Maine,
reason not to fly.
yeah, I've been when I went to Maine back in January again of this year, I was on the airplane and I remember like, oh god, dude, I was just like just on takeoff, like, and then we get up there and it's like, okay, try not to think about it.
Right.
Yeah,
I'm not a flyer.
It is okay. It's an experience to do at least once in your life, I would say. You'll be all right. More people die in car accidents and train
That's
crashes.
what they always say. That's all right.
Yeah.
That still isn't going to suck me into a plane. I just
Yeah, you like your feet on
it's
the
the
ground.
thought of I always said that, when I'm on the ground, I want to be in control of where I'm going. If
Right.
somebody smashes into me, okay, that is, you deal with it. But you're in a plane and my leg would be hijacked and I get blown up. This is what goes through my head. Or you're going to crash, and it's not like you're just crashing into a tree. You're dropping 30,000 or more feet to the ground. So not appealing whatsoever.
Luckily, it doesn't happen too often.
Right.
But
Thank
I
God.
understand. I
mean, it's because I have a friend who wants to treat me. Listen to this, because I have a friend who is willing to treat me to an all expense paid trip to the UK.
Mm-hmm.
And I told her no,
Oh, wow. Wow.
because I
Okay.
can't get on the plane.
Yeah.
I
Your
said,
anxiety is just too
you'd have
much.
to knock me out like, what is it, Mr. T there in the A-Team? You'd have to
Take
give me something and knock me totally out cold and
yeah.
drag me on there.
I'll give you some what do they call it? Xanax.
Yeah,
That'll
there
do the
you go.
trick.
Pop a
Then
few of
that way,
those.
if you do crash, you won't even care.
Exactly. Let's go. First one of the grounds around. And she said, well, we'll travel a business class because they have champagne. I said, I'm going to need more than one bottle. We have a few bottles. Mike says, I have flown in a Cessna 172. Is that
he has flown them, as in he was in charge of flying them.
he
I
was
believe
in
is what he's
okay,
saying.
so you know what I think is that it's really weird because I'm always been the first person, you go to the amusement parks, let's hit the most scariest, dangerous ride they've got. I'd be
Right.
there in a heartbeat. Mention a plane, forget it. I don't get it. I think once I got on there and got over, the initial
Yeah,
fright,
absolutely.
I would be good.
All the things that you're saying are things that I've thought of too. Like when I first got on an airplane, I was the same way. It was like, holy shit, like I am no longer in control of my life right now. You know. But yeah, you get over it, especially when everybody else is calm and hanging out, and you see that there are people that get on flights almost every day of their life. It seems like,
We've got all these people flying their own planes and everything else.
oh, Carla flew helicopters. Shit the bed,
God
dude.
bless
I
you.
that scares me. That's like being in control of flying. I don't know I could do that. That's insane.
Let's
Leave
see
it
what
up to
this bad
somebody
boy
else.
can do.
Yeah. Yeah. I wreck bicycles. So like I couldn't imagine being in control of an airplane.
Right.
Luckily I do all right in my car. I'm fine there. And I drive a lot, but knock on wood. I'm
And two
good.
says my father-in-law owns 2 planes. Wow. Actually, it's funny where we go on the weekends. Sometimes we go to a lake, and the people that are across the lake make more money. And
Mhm.
one of the houses, the guy he flies in with his plane, lands it in the lake, and pulls it right up to the garage at their
Right.
house there on the lake. And I'm like, oh, look, the neighbors are here. Just flying in his own plane.
Yeah, that's good for them.
Oh yeah, see, the same reason. Like I said, I would love to go to the UK. The history alone,
Hmm.
I feel like I belong there because I'm just so in awe of the history, and
Yeah.
I know I'll never get there.
Not with that attitude, you won't.
No, I know. Just gotta just hog tie me with some duct tape and just throw me in a cargo hold, and we'll be back for you later when we get the luggage.
Right. We'll sneak you a peanut butter sandwich somehow.
Yeah. So who knows? I prefer higher wire any day. We 10 fly-ins on a regular. See, and everybody, the people just love it,
Yeah.
and it's
Well, you do get where you're going pretty quick.
uh,
It was nice flying to Maine rather than driving because when I drove, it took me 18 hours because I hit a snowstorm when I got there. I
right.
mean, I was already like 14 hours in when I got there, and so it was another 4 hours, and it turned my like hour and a half long drive into 4-hour drive.
Right.
But yeah, flying in, awesome. I was there in I think 4 hours altogether. So and
Jimmy
then I
or
was able.
Rob saying, give you my seat on the plane. She's still trying to talk me into it.
Yeah.
So I told her, now this time I told her, I said, I'll think about it. I promise.
Yeah.
I think if I was in my 20s, I would have said, let's go. I'll throw some stuff in a bag and I'd be out of here. But now it's the older you get, the more of a chicken you turn into.
Yeah.
Cheryl says I should try hypnosis.
Carla says she wrecks bikes too. So yet another thing she and I have in common. We're bonding over our bike wrecks.
There you go.
Yeah.
Were they pretty bad? I know I tried it once and I wrecked it, and that was the last time I was on a bike.
Yeah, I had 2 really bad wrecks. Landed
Oh,
one time my uncle, he had a Volkswagen bus, and I had this BMX RMX bike. It was white and red. I got it for Christmas. And I was racing him on a gravel driveway. And I got going so fast that the grip of the wheel was no longer gripping on the rocks, and my bike started doing this, and I just ate shit, man. I landed on my chin and my wrists, and that was
gravel all
pretty bad.
stuck up and everything. Oh,
Yeah. And
I
then
thought you
another
guys were talking
time,
about motorcycles.
no, oh no, I'll never ride
Yeah,
a
no, I wrecked a
motorcycle.
motorcycle once. I said, that's it. I broke it. I'm out of here.
Yeah, no, I'll
Been on
never
one
ride a
since.
motorcycle. Scared to death of them because I wreck bikes. So, and I was only going, I mean, probably 25 miles an hour. I couldn't
Right,
imagine driving 60, 70 miles an hour on 2 wheels. Controlling 4 wheels is stressful enough.
right.
I don't, I just can't.
Yeah,
I like life. Life is good. I'm a fan.
yeah. A regular bike. Yeah, I went flying over the handlebars,
Yeah, did that
and it
too.
was on a hill. And I knew it was coming. I go, oh boy, I'm going to kiss the pavement.
Ugh. Well, at least you were prepared to a degree.
Yeah, I knew it was coming. I said, oh, because I grabbed the wrong brake. I'm like, oh, you asshole. Here I'm going. I knew where I was going. I get home. What happened to you? Well,
Made some mistakes.
I'm all busted up, but the bike's still all right.
Well, that's good.
I used to go four-wheeling. Yeah, I've never been four-wheeling.
I've
I always
done
wanted to. I can't now because I have issues with my back and my spine. And I know if I get on a four-wheeler, they're going to have to wheel me off on a dolly to the emergency room. So
Yeah,
I just sit and watch everybody else have a good time.
yeah, I feel that. I have, not to bore everybody, but I have degenerating discs in my lower back, and it's
Yeah.
awful. Yeah.
Yes, that's what we've got here too.
Uh-huh.
So
Yeah.
we
Yeah,
can't do any of that fun stuff anymore.
Mm-hmm.
You take the, in my case, of course, you got a little one too. So, I mean, you might have to put up with that, but go and take them to the water park.
Yeah.
The water park's not far from where we live. And, and I used to take the kids all the time. Now, when they get older, and I'm like, I can't go on that ride. I have to go on the old lady ride, the lazy river,
Uh-huh. I
and
love
just
that.
float around in a circle.
Yeah. Yeah. Why not? That's
Yeah.
one of my favorite things is the lazy river.
Oh yeah, I love it now. But
Yeah.
when I was younger, I was the one who wanted to be on, the big power. I used to
Mhm.
call it the wedgie maker, the power slide there, where
Uh-huh.
you drop 100 feet and then your swimsuit cuts you in half from your ass up to your shoulder blades. That would be me, but not anymore.
Yeah. It's the best time ever.
I've got loads of scars from bikes, especially metal pedals. Oh yes, I remember those.
You ever try to push your bike while you're barefoot? Like try to ride your bike? God, it's awful.
Yeah. And agree, those pedals had the sharp, jagged edges on them for
Mhm.
grip. Oh yeah, I've tore
It's
up.
like, this sucks.
Tore up a lot of skin on that. Yeah. Of course, we grew up in the age where the engineers were idiots. The metal slides, and
Right.
you go sliding down in a pair of shorts and you burn off 10 layers of skin.
Uh-huh.
Good times. Good times.
Yeah, yeah. Those were the days.
Yeah. Oh, Mike, he's saving up for an e-bike. Yeah, I'd love to have one of those. But they're wicked expensive.
I've seen people putting around on those.
Yeah, they would be awesome. The last time I checked, it was like $1,500.
Wow. Now, if I lived in the city, it would make sense for me to have something like that, But yeah, living out in the middle of nowhere, the only bike that I want is an elliptical, so I can, keep my body healthy at the
Keep
very
it moving.
Yeah.
The best thing to do, I was always told this by my chiropractor, just take a 15-minute walk every day.
Mm-hmm.
So you just go leave your front door, walk up the road, 15 minutes, walk back. You're good.
Yeah, and you're getting out into the sun, which is,
Yeah.
you know.
And she says it's, you don't need to jog and all this other crap. She says all you need to just walk.
Yeah.
And and drink water.
Mm-hmm. Been trying to do better about that myself.
All right. Oh yeah, Blueberry. Yeah, we're a lot tougher. That's right. We are tougher than the generations today.
Yeah.
You're going down the metal slides. We used to drink out of the garden hose, play in the mud. Everybody, oh, don't do that. Germs. Please, we used to roll around in germs.
Right. I'll still drink out of the water hose.
Yeah, I do too. We have immunity, so it's
right. Right.
You do that nowadays, the kids are like, oh, it's whatever.
But are perfectly okay with being sprayed by it.
Right. So then you just teach them a lesson. You blast them right in the mouth.
Well, yeah.
Kids got it soft today.
Yeah.
Well, so most of them just want to stay home and look at a screen. I used to tell my son, get out. You're going to be bitching in the wintertime when you're freezing. You can't go out and nobody's around. I said, it's nice out. Get the hell outside.
Yeah.
And, so you're not going to sit around and play video games all day long. That's for when it's raining and, you know, you're sick or whatever. You got to spend 8 to 9 hours staring at a screen.
Right.
Even though he'll do that now.
Yeah.
But he's
I've been guilty of that too, but I've got too much going on anymore. More so now, if I play video games, I'm playing with Gavin, and we played like Mario or stuff like that,
I see my kids skateboards. You're gonna get hurt, but you'll have me. Oh, you landed the trick. Yeah, I tried skateboard a couple times. My son was laughing at me. I pretty much always landed on my ass.
Yeah, I wanted to be, but I was never a skateboarder. Of course, again, I live out in the middle of nowhere. Where am I going to go?
You'd have to make your own ramps and all of that.
Uh-huh.
I used to do a lot of roller skating and ice skating, but yeah, not the skateboard. No, it didn't work out for me. Actually, I was surprised I didn't break my wrist or anything when I used to fall.
Yeah. Well, and taking a fall at our age, too, it's like, God.
You're going to break your hip.
Yeah.
It's sad. This is just sad.
I was chasing my dog around the house one day, and I stepped on something and slipped. And, dude, I ate shit so hard. And I laid there for about 5-10 minutes. I was like, this sucks. Like, when I was a kid, I would have just got right up. But, man.
Nowadays, yeah, it takes a little more time for us to get up.
Yeah.
You'll be like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
It's not like I got hit by something. I just man down. I don't know.
Right.
Hey, Carla, unkink the hose. Yeah, we used to do that all the time. My father used to do that to me. You get blasted in the face. My father always thought that was funny. Hoverboards? No, because I know I would take a header. And these little kids are like 1 years old. They're just zipping around on those boards. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not doing that. Too dangerous. Too dangerous for school fools. It's like I always tell everybody, they talk about the golden years. Yeah, who made up that saying? A liar. Golden years are when you're young.
Yes.
After you hit the 40s, forget it. Everything starts to hurt.
Yes.
Did he say not in the army, just did electrical work at the branch of military base and had some friends can go check out the planes, helicopters. My grandfather flew B-29, World War II. Got some pictures he took. It's just, those planes are amazing.
Yeah,
freaking amazing. What was it? This unfortunately, the last storm that we had that blew through this way, about 14 miles from our house, they got hit. And this is not common for our area, but they got hit with a tornado.
Oh, wow.
They did some pretty heavy damage. And it's a city called Rome, and there's a military base there. And they had an old retired plane, cargo plane. This thing, B-52 or something. I think it was what it was. Yeah, and they had it was on the lawn on pads. So
Mm-hmm.
they had it there for display, and that tornado moved it about 10 feet.
Wow. Wow.
Now, yeah, you know the size of that plane, and then
Yeah.
this, you know, the power of Mother Nature is just
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Not to
could
be
you imagine?
underestimated.
Woo, could you imagine if it actually did pick that thing up? Oh, what a mess!
Yeah.
Have it dropping down in front of you?
And there aren't many of those left either. So that would have been a real, that would have been a
Yeah,
nice
it was
free
just
loss.
amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So it was, yeah, when they said that moved, because it is odd. We never had that because we live in a valley. So they always said that there was not enough room for the winds to collect to form a funnel. And it would just, if we ever did get a really big one in here, we would be destroyed because it would just bounce off the mountains.
Right.
And, but every time now, because of the high heat and high humidity that we've had this summer, we've been getting little ones.
Yeah.
And they're just popping up in certain areas and destroying a couple of neighborhoods, and then they would dissipate. So it's apparently that's going to be the norm now for the area. You know, if we have high humidity and high heat, that's going to develop when we have a rainstorm coming through, which is kind of scary.
Yeah. Yeah. I've been in a tornado before. It is a scary situation.
Yeah. Well, when we lived in Missouri, we lived there for a couple of years, and I didn't know anything about that area. And I was at a friend's house, and my husband showed up. The sky just turned pitch black.
Mm-hmm.
He goes, "Let's go." He goes, "We're going back to the house." He goes, "We're going to die. We're going to die together." I go, "What the hell are you talking about? It's just a rainstorm." And then when I got outside, I was like, "Oh, it looks pretty bad."
Yeah.
So yeah, and he actually got trapped in one out there one time when he was out there for hunting season, and they were in the truck. They had nowhere to go.
Right.
So they just sat there. I mean, they were on the outskirts of it, and the whole truck was shaking and everything. Yep. He said they were all praying. This is it. We're going to die. And thank God it missed them. But that was an experience I don't think I'd want to have.
Not at all.
Yikes.
When the one that I was in, it was I was in somebody's basement because we knew it was coming, and it was like this sound, and they say it sounds like a train, and then it was quiet for a minute, and then again, so that quiet part was when we were in the eye of this tornado because it's dead quiet.
Right.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, and then it had uprooted an old blue spruce that I had in my yard for years. Just completely killed that tree, and they are very unforgiving. And put it on took the tree out of one of my yards and put it on the roof of my other house.
It's just makes a mess.
Yeah,
and thank God you guys survived it. Things can be replaced.
Exactly.
It's just a scary thing to get involved with. Let's hop back into. Do you have any plans? Sorry, guys, hop back into the paranormal. Do you have any plans on doing another documentary?
Yeah. So right now, Luke and I are we're putting together basically the beginning stages of what the next one will be. So we're trying to. I've looked at the Monroe House, which is about 2 hours away from where I live. But I also heard about this place called Whispers Estates. And what intrigues me about it is there are a lot of people saying that it's not real. And that's more up my alley. Whereas the Monroe House is supposed to be like completely real. I'd like to go to, I really, in the perfect world, I'd like to do one on both. It really depends on pricing and stuff like that. I'd like to stay for 5 days wherever it is we're going. The Monroe House, that's very doable. I think it's only like $125 a day, split 2 ways. That's going to be easy for us to come across. I don't know what Whisper Estates charges. So, but yes, the next one will be either on Whisper Estates or the Monroe House. Looking like the Monroe House, though.
Fantastic. Okay, now I got a question that you might not want to answer. Because you don't want to make anybody mad. I mean, you enjoy doing the interviews, and we love watching your interviews. Do you have a favorite person that you interviewed?
So far,
Nobody get mad.
Yeah, no, I love everybody. I watched the one with Crow a lot. Like out of all of them, I watch him, I think, the most. I just like the way he and I were able to bounce off of each other was nice, you know. There was like this chemistry thing that was happening there with him and I. I really liked that one a lot. But Kenny Biddle was great, and Side Eyed Guy was another one that was really great. And
Right.
I mean, I like them all. Matt Benton, Matt's been really great to me. I've made a really good friend in that guy, and he's helped me out quite a bit. And um, I want more people on, like such as yourself, or I'd like to get Beardo on at some point. I'd like to get Purple on. I'm looking at there's a channel called The Hidden Underbelly. He's already given me the go ahead, and I know that I hear nobody talking about The Hidden Underbelly. He's very fun. He's not afraid to dive into subjects that, even though we know aren't real, he'll still bring them up and talk about them.
Right.
Like Philip Schneider, the guy that I don't know if you ever heard of him, but he said that he used to build DUMBs, which are deep underground military bases, and he said that they were digging this hole for this DUMB, and they came across a reptilian race of aliens, and they shot his hand off, and this Green Beret saved his life. And it's really this fantastic story that we know just is not real, but the man was murdered, and very mysteriously, and he was into a lot of conspiracies. So which one was right, you know? But still, Hidden Underbelly is another one that I plan to have on. I enjoy talking with people. I enjoy talking with people, like-minded people, or even people who have completely different views entirely. Because
Right.
again, it's all about learning, and I'm not gonna. Let's say I have some. I will probably have somebody on that believes in Bigfoot. I don't necessarily believe in Bigfoot, but I don't disbelieve it either. You know, I don't.
Yeah, I wanted to do a Bigfoot show, and I tried to set that up, but they crashed and burned. So
Yeah, yeah. And if
I had to
someone
find
comes
somebody
on,
else.
yeah, yeah. Well, they're out there. And if I have somebody on and they're saying things that I don't agree with, I'm not gonna. I'm just gonna let them talk, because that's what it's about. It's just about meeting people and listening to them, and you know, if you learn something, awesome. Otherwise, just have a great show. That's
Right,
that's what
right.
I stretch for.
So yeah, that's I agree with you. Some of the ones you mentioned, I'd love to have on as well. And I just
Sarah, fantastic. She was actually, I really love talking with her. She knew about bands that I absolutely adore, and she
right,
also is a Star Wars geek, so that was fun. You know, so yeah, everybody's been really really good. But I guess the one that I watch the most, because I do go back and watch them, not all the way through most of the time, but Crow, I can sit there and watch that one all the way through because I just really enjoyed, and that was the first one. That was the very
right.
first one.
He's hysterical.
Yeah, he's great.
He is really funny. Rob says you should get Steve on.
Steve, yeah, I do plan on having him on as well. Yeah, I
He's
mentioned it to him.
yeah,
I mentioned it to him, so
he's a
he's ready to
great
do that.
guy.
Yeah, he
That's
certainly
wonderful.
is.
Yeah, I've sent out messages to a few people that you listed, and I've gotten no response. So maybe I'm just not big enough yet.
No, well,
I know everybody's
well,
busy, but it's
yeah, that's
I would love to get a few of them on, but and again, it's the time zones. It's difficult, and
yeah.
so I try to
I'm sure.
accommodate.
I'm sure you
And
could get some of those people on with if you just sometimes their messages get buried and stuff like that, and
big pain in their ass either.
yeah,
It's
I feel that.
and be like, I'm not gonna stalk people.
Mhm.
Oh, you gotta come on my show.
Right. Sometimes your moderators will reach out too. I've had some moderators be gracious enough to do that, which has helped me out in the past.
Well,
So,
see, you said his name 3 times, and look who's in the chat.
well, there he is. There he is.
I'm sorry, that is so funny. Every time that happens, they say he's listening, always listening. Hi,
Yeah,
Crow. How are
he,
you?
he's been lurking.
You say his name 3 times, and he appears.
Yeah, I wish I had that talent. That's a good talent, man. He's probably in
How do
more.
you do it, Crow? Is it a feeling?
He's got to be in more places in like at the same time too. He can be in 2 places at once.
Right,
I'm
right.
sure of
Well,
it.
he
I'm
was
sure
doing
of
a live, so it's and I had to leave his live to come here to set up for this live.
it. Oh,
Like I
okay.
said, I don't normally do Fridays because all of the bigger guys do Fridays, so I stay away from it. But you
Well,
know, when you have no choice, it's
yeah.
so they're either watching them or they're gonna watch me. It's just that's the way it goes. Um, yeah, I'd like to have Crow on again too whenever he could squeeze me into his schedule. Because actually he was my first. Uh, he said, dude, if I would have known beforehand about your live, I would have redirected everyone over here. That's okay, because I know Kenny is on as well. I can't
Yeah,
beat
that's
Kenny.
true. Well,
I'm not as big as the Kenny Biddle show, so
yeah. I
that's
hate to hear you
okay.
talk about
It's
yourself like that. I think you're great. I
it's
think you do a
okay.
really good job. And
Oh, thank you. I think I'll get there eventually.
yeah, no, yeah. Don't sell yourself short, Laura. You're good at what you do.
Thank you very much. So that's the thing. I don't get any. Well, I do get some feedback, but you know, it's because I always wonder. Okay, is it? I only had like maybe like 5 people. What is it? Nobody likes what I'm talking about, or who I got on, or is it me, or is it
I don't think
And
it's you.
I said, well, I'm just gonna do it, and that's just the way it is. If they like it, they'll show up.
That's the best thing you can do. And then, but do what you like. Do what you like,
Right.
and those that matter will stick around.
So there, yeah, he's still in there gabbing away. So yeah, we have to get you on again, Mr. Crow. Says we love you, and we've only and he's only just found me. Thank you, Rob. That was very nice of you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I try to make it entertaining. It's just like with the Bigfoot deal. I
Mhm.
tried and I tried, and like I said, that's pretty much shit the bed. And
Yeah.
I just pretty much cut the guy loose because 3 times you're out. You're gonna yank my chain. I'm not. I take what I do very seriously.
Right.
And
Don't
if
waste my time.
you're gonna break my balls, then you're done.
Yeah.
So now I just got to find another Bigfoot guy because I think it would make an interesting show. I really do.
Yeah.
Because who knows? I don't know what they do. Do you know what they do?
No, they apparently knock on trees and disappear as soon as you see them. They're also out of focus all the time. So,
Right. Well, I mean, just like the investigators.
oh, the
How do
investigators
you
got you.
investigate? How do you do? How are you a Bigfoot hunter?
Yeah.
What do you do?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a guy that I'd like to get on. His name's Nate Brislin, and he did a documentary called Eyes from the Pines, and he's actually got a sequel coming out. He's a young guy, and he's written some books, and he's really into that, and I'd really like to get him on, but I can't get the guy to answer me. And it's like we have mutual friends that we personally know, and I'm like, pester this guy. Why won't he talk to me? What's the deal with this? I think he's just probably busy, but it's like I think it would be a great conversation. There's somebody
Yeah.
that because I've got a lot of interests, and I've always thought Bigfoot was a cool story. Out of all the cryptids, I think that one's the most likely to exist. Like put up against the New Jersey Devil or Mothman or Loch Ness
Yeah, those
Monster,
other
or
ones.
like
Yeah, I
that.
just can't swallow those. But
Right?
Bigfoot could actually have been here at
Yeah,
one time.
absolutely, absolutely.
Because everybody tells me, oh, nobody wants to hear that crap. I said, well, listen, people used to say that about the giant squid too. No
Right?
such thing. No such thing. Hello, guess what what's out there? The giant squid exists. So who's to
Yeah.
say that Bigfoot didn't exist at one point in time, or if he still does?
Right.
I mean, I'm on the fence. We'll see. Someday they might come up with something.
If it does exist, I would have to say it's probably not just one. There has to be. That's how life works.
And
You
as
need more
much
than
as the forest that covers this globe,
Mhm.
we have not looked through all of it.
Right.
We don't know what's in there,
Yeah,
so they might be there.
absolutely.
Thank you for the nice words, Mike. Thank you very much.
You could always try talking to Air Force One, said Boo. That's I've actually had, I've had Sasquatch on my show before. He's called in.
I'm not interested in anything to do with Bigfoot. Uh,
Fair enough. Won't see you
yeah.
at that show then.
Well, like I said, I've had friends say, "Oh, come on, nobody's gonna watch that Bigfoot shit." Nobody. I said, "Well, I don't care whether they believe it or not. I
Right.
want to have
Right.
somebody that's credible on there. I don't want some kind of goofball. I want somebody who actually takes it seriously, and I want to just figure out, okay, what do you do? I mean, with paranormal, we know what we do and what others do.
Right.
How do you search and investigate for Bigfoot?
Yeah. Yeah.
I would think it would be interesting. So either you're going to do it first or I'm going to do it first, and we'll just see what we can find out.
Yeah, absolutely.
So, Cheryl goes, I'm interested in everything. Well, see, she's open. She's interested in everything.
Yeah.
And
There's
not
nothing
many
wrong
people.
with this. There's nothing wrong with discussion.
Right, right. And you don't know who knows what or how they do something. Everybody's mentioned a hair forest. Hair forest apparently isn't interested. So yeah, I can't ask him. So I have to find somebody else. Yeah. Does anybody have any questions for Jimmie? Let's spit out some questions.
I know you're not rock. I know you're not knocking it, Rob. I know you're not. I know.
No. It's just it's
something you just think if you're into it or you're not. And
right.
Totally
Not everybody's into the Bigfoot dude.
Right.
The only reason I think that I find it interesting is because friends of mine came here to visit. And we live at the foothill of the Adirondack Mountains, and I don't know if anybody knows anything about the Adirondacks. Pretty much the land of lakes, and it's all forestry. It's beautiful, and we're there all the time. Because it's only we drive up the mountain and we're there, and that's where I'm happy, is up there. Well, friends of ours came here for a wedding. And they were staying in a cabin up there, and the guy and his daughter were taking a walk on the trail, and they came upon this birchwood branch that was shoved into the ground in the trail. So they figured, well, somebody took a rock and slammed it in there, but there was no birchwood trees on that trail, so they figured it's something that they carried in.
Right.
And so as his daughter went ahead of him, a few hundred feet or so. Next thing you know, she's running back to him, white as a ghost. And this girl never swears. And she says, Dad, we have to get the fuck out of here right now. And he's like, oh my God, what's the matter? What, did you see a bear? No, it wasn't a bear. I know what a bear looks like. We have to leave. She was scared to death. And he's like, and he's a very skeptical, very logical thinking. He says, calm down. Tell me what you saw.
Right.
She said he had to have been about almost 10 foot tall. It was black and had white on it. And it was just standing there staring at her. And of course, she turned around, freaked out, and ran back.
Right.
So as they were, he goes, okay, calm down, we'll leave. Because they really didn't have time to investigate, because he really wanted to go see what it was.
Yeah.
And as they were making their way back up to the trail that they had just come down, they noticed on the opposite side of the trail was another branch from a birch tree shoved into the ground.
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
And he went to try to pull this thing out and couldn't pull it out. And he says they didn't hear anybody slamming it with a rock or anything. Right. And then the next thing you know, they hear this horrible sounding yowl or something. And they're like, what the hell was that?
Right.
So they left. And he did some research on the computer, and it was another incident in that area where a guy was out there with his dog, and the dog wouldn't leave his side and kept growling in one direction. And then this horrible sound, he heard it. And then the guy took that recording and sent it to an animal expert. And apparently the animal expert said they didn't know what it was.
Okay.
And it was the same sound that my friend and his daughter heard in the woods.
Oh, wow.
So that's what makes me interested in, okay, what the hell was it?
Right. So I am sharing my screen with you here because there was a question before Rob's for Cheryl.
Okay.
When is episode 3 coming out?
Okay.
I don't know, but I will do you one better. I have to pee really bad. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you a sneak peek at what I have right now for episode 3 while I go pee.
Okay,
right?
potty break for Jimmie. Everybody
All
watch. Right. Let's go to the movies.
All right, here you go. Let me make that full. There we go. All right, I'll be right back.
I have to power pee, guys. No.
My story, I became a paranormal investigator because when I was 5, my father actually died of cancer, jaw cancer. And so there's nothing they could do because it was like so close to his brain already. And so he passed away when I was very young. And he was always interested in ghosts and, you know, other phenomena and, you know, psychic research and aliens. And he was already into all this stuff. So it naturally just kind of went along to me.
I'm still here, guys.
Especially because I didn't want to think that he was just gone. Pretty much the death of my father is really why I wanted to start looking for paranormal and life after death.
I'm Joe Vitale. I have a YouTube channel called N87 Paranormal. I've been investigating on and off for just over 30 years. I never had actually too much of an interest in investigating the paranormal. I just kind of got pulled into it. I grew up in a house that had some things going on. It was not good things, and it was terrifying. So my experience with the paranormal was very negative.
What it means to me to be a paranormal investigator is finding the truth. It doesn't matter if it's not paranormal or if it is paranormal, just finding the bottom line, what it is. I am looking at it from both point of views. And I think it's best for a paranormal investigator to be right in the middle of a believer and skeptic. You should be open-minded to both reasonings and do not be closed-minded. And also another big issue I believe in the paranormal today is cognitive dissonance. And this goes for not just the people in the paranormal field, this goes for the hardcore skeptics also. They are looking at it from a straight up believer standpoint, or the skeptic standpoint is like, it's just not real. And full on skeptics, I mean, the ones that are not being open-minded. You should always be open-minded in the paranormal field. And if you're right in the middle, I think you're in the right place as a paranormal investigator. Being a little bit of spiritual and being skeptical is the proper way of doing things, in my opinion.
I'm looking for the truth. I'm looking for the answers. No matter what I may find, if, one day we actually figure out what's going on and it's not like ghosts and demons and all this other crazy stuff, I'm fine with that. Because I know that I was a part of a community that went out and was looking for the truth.
If I could just take one person who's a firm, non-believer, and if I could just show them one piece of evidence that could maybe not change their mind even, but just plant the seed of maybe there is something else out there, something that I don't understand. I don't want to change a skeptic's mind, because we need skeptics. But I would love to take a firm non-believer, show them something that will turn them into a skeptic, if that makes sense.
Sorry about that.
this is going to sound quite cheesy, but in a weird way, the debunking side of the paranormal more found me. I really did start off just as a comedy reaction channel. That's what I wanted to do. I wanted to watch these videos from the perspective of a skeptic, picking apart an argument and looking at it logically in and of itself can be considered debunking. But then that sort of stepping stone led on to me discovering and going down some rabbit holes of some, like, finding out some information where you're like, oh no, this is actually far more egregious than just, this is like silly. This is like, oh, they're actually there's some channels out there that really are outright faking their content and to make money off it.
It's definitely damaged the paranormal community for sure. YouTube, I would say, actually online in general, has been oversaturated with all this fake content. And what it's done is it's made everybody want to see this real scary stuff, this real cheap stuff. There's no market for real paranormal anymore because everybody wants to see the scary stuff. And even if they know it's fake, most of them will still watch it because it's exciting, it's sexy, it's fun.
When there you are. I know it's a little jumpy and there's some things that need to be worked on with it, but
It's great.
that's where I'm at right now. So yeah, it's no longer about Kent. It's about all of those people.
Kent was yesterday. Now we have to move on. No, that looks like it's going to be fantastic. We look forward to seeing that.
Thank you.
Let's see, Rob, Jimmie, what up to this weekend? Got anything planned? You getting the boy?
No, I don't have the boy this weekend, so I don't quite know what to do with myself. It's my first weekend without him, where his mother and I are shifting weekends. So I don't know I guess I'll probably just work on the documentary since now I have more time to do that.
Jimmie's free.
Yeah.
Hit him up. Let's see, who's your next guest on Into the Night? Jimmie, Carla?
No, Carla will come on. But no, this upcoming Tuesday I have Laura. So I'll be interrogating her.
Oh no.
And
Am I gonna need a Xanax? No.
I'll take it easy on you.
That's
I just like
Bring
to ask
it
questions.
on.
Yeah, that'll be fun.
Bring it on. Let's see. Great job, Jimmie. I can't wait to see even more. Yeah, I know. It looks really good. So yeah, we can't wait to see.
Yeah, I know that people are really aching at it. I get asked this question a lot, and I really need I need it to be powerful. I need it to be powerful. And the whole thing is I don't know if anybody's asked this question, but it's like, well, why are you, being me? Why is Jimmie Mitchell doing this? And that's I'm not trying to be self-centered. It's not even really necessarily about me. It's about everybody else and all of you as well. People that are looking for the truth. And when you start polluting the water that everybody is drinking from, everybody's bound to get sick. And I do not like it. And you have these guys that I think they do great work. Beardo and Side-Eyed Guy and Crow, all of them, they do great work.
Yes, they do.
And I'm not going to say that my thing is going to make any more of an impact than their stuff is. But what I really want is for a faker to watch what I'm doing and go, I'm a lowly piece of shit. I need to stop this. I need to rethink my life. I mean, if I'll ever get that, I don't know, and I'll never know. But I want to impact not only them, but I want them to be scared, because you don't know what I'm up to. And people, and I can only do this so many times the way I'm doing it before people will catch on. but I am clever. And I have ways. I have ways to
Yes.
lure you if I need. Yeah, it gets me worked up, so I apologize for getting choked up. It just
That's all right. No, I understand where you're coming from, and I don't think you'll get that validation that you're looking for because the fakers aren't
no.
going to admit it. But we have to remember there might be that one chance where
Right.
you do change somebody's mind.
Yeah.
Rob says, Laura, now's your chance to ask Jimmie awkward questions before he grills you on Tuesday.
Oh, Rob, my favorite
Oh,
person.
man. I usually do like six, strange questions at the end of no, not it's not every program, but most. So we'll ask him the 6 questions.
Yeah, how about it?
Okay, so let's see. Question number 1: what's your favorite swear word?
My favorite swear word, like one that I use all the time, or just some, yeah, because
Whatever's just your favorite swear word.
Probably fuck. I mean, I say fuck a lot, but I also say shit the bed and stuff like that. So I don't know. It's more like phrases. I like phrases.
Okay.
You know,
And what's your least favorite word or phrase?
I don't like belly. I don't like the word belly. I don't like.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, what's another one? I don't like them, so I get them out of my head. But belly is the one that sticks with me. That's the first one that came to mind.
You're the first person that's ever said that. Belly. It's it's good. See, I love doing this because people are thinking, well, gee, I don't know. I never really thought about it.
Right.
What's your favorite sound?
My favorite sound. My little boy's laughing.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
What's your least favorite sound?
Styrofoam against each other. That awful sound that styrofoam makes when it rubs.
Squeaky.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
literally does something to like my salivary glands up in here. I hate it. I hate it.
Yeah, I know it makes like your jaw hurt right
Mhm.
in the joint area. I don't know. That's
Yep.
strange. Or like styrofoam, anything styrofoam I can't eat or drink off of because
Right.
it bothers my teeth. It freaks my teeth out. I
Yeah,
know
I
that's
guess so.
weird, guys, but it does. It just causes a freakiness. Okay. Where do you think you'll be in 10 years?
Well, I can only hope that I'll have a few more documentaries under my belt by then, and that they're kind of taking care of me. You know, I would like that. I'd like to honestly be in this house that I'm in right now. I have a lot of work to do in order to make that happen. And yeah, I'll have a 15-year-old son at that point. So 10 years away looks pretty good. I mean, if all goes the way I want it to.
Wonderful. And the last one is, if there is a heaven, and when you get there, what do you think your first words will be?
Thank you.
Nice.
Yeah.
Those are great answers. And you know what? I think you answered them pretty easily because a lot of people will be like, I don't know. Because it's something that you just don't generally think about.
Right. Well,
Until somebody
the favorite
throws it in your
sound I had
face.
to think about for a second. Yeah, but I like that. That's awesome.
Right.
Very good.
Yeah. Those are great answers. Bob says signing autographs and winning awards for his documentaries and films. But you know what? That would be fantastic. You never know.
Yeah. The
10 years,
first
you got to get them put
episode,
out there.
I entered the first episode into a few film festivals, and one of them has selected it. So the Fortean Film Festival, that's Fortean, Fortean, in the United Kingdom. They've selected it, so it's going up against other documentaries of the paranormal. And that will be in September. So I think sometime in September I'll find out if I got an award or not. But I've at least been selected.
Great.
which means that I now have laurels. You know, those like whenever you see
Yeah.
independent films, yeah, I've got me a set of those now. So
Right.
yeah,
He's moving.
we're going
Just
up.
remember us, when we become famous.
Oh well,
Then
I
we can
will
all
never.
say, we remember Jimmie when,
Yeah, yeah. Well, I appreciate it. I just, it's not about fame. I just, the whole thing, whenever I did this, I did it for me. I did it for me. I did it for Luke. I did it for the people that are affected by this. Um, I never expected the kind of response or the warm welcome community that that found me, you know.
right.
I didn't find them. They came, they found me. And that I thought that I was alone in this venture because all the paranormal stuff you find, it's all them trying to convince you that the place is haunted. That's what, that's the way it seems. And there's no like background work anymore. Taps was it when it came to that stuff. It seems like, there really isn't much of that anymore. And I was like, well, that's a lost art that needs to come back. And that was all I was trying to do was just I didn't want to do your typical ghost hunting show at all. That's why there is not a lick of night vision in the entire thing. I did that on purpose.
Right.
And because I don't want it to feel that way. When you watch it, I want you to think, you feel like you're watching a documentary, and yeah, so if it goes anywhere, it's just I I can only hope that happens, but as far as expectations go or whatever, it's just I have learned to just take things as they come. And since I have stopped seeking fame, because I did do that for a long time in a band,
Right.
and on my other YouTube channel, I really, really wanted to be a famous YouTuber. And now it's like, I just want to be a good dad. That's really all I want to be.
That's what's important.
Yeah.
All of this other stuff is just a hobby.
Yeah.
You're doing it because you enjoy doing it and you don't expect anything extra for it.
That's yeah.
Like whenever we're talking about, monetization and all of that stuff. And like, you know what? I don't think I highly doubt I'll ever get to that point. But if I do, that's great. At least I know I'm going forward and doing something good. But I do this because I enjoy it, and it gets me out to meet you wonderful people and some great new friends and to learn. The learning is just unbelievable. I love it because when I'm watching other people's programs and interviews and this thing, that there'll be stuff that I don't know or places that people have been and I haven't heard about. And I'm like, oh, and I take notes. I write it down. Oh, I'm going to look this up or check this out. Or, it's, the typical human being. I'm, I want to know that stuff. And at least it's in an area that I enjoy. And
yeah. Well, the world's a better place with you in it, Laura.
thank
And
you very much.
with the show that you're doing, I think there is value here. So, value isn't determined on how much money you make. Your value is determined on what your intent is. And I think your intent is in the right place. At least that's how I feel. So it's a pleasure.
Oh, yes. You're just making me blush all over. My goodness.
Oh, well, I only
Smooth
speak the
talker,
truth.
Jimmie.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
No.
You're doing the same thing. You're doing, a great job on your program. We all enjoy it. Always look forward to who you're going to have on next. And it's so, I love it because the way it is, it's so laid back and comfortable. And, that's what I try to do here as well. And I think that's, just part of who you are. And like you said, if you're doing it for yourself and your son and just to make things better for you guys, that's great. But you're also just doing it because this is what you like to do. It's your passion.
Mm-hmm.
And
I
you're
was
good.
I was very scared of this of it for a while. I was very scared to dive into it because there's a stigma that happens, and like again, I live in a small town, and but once I got over that, I feel like I don't know. I often wonder, was there something that was trying, because I'm gonna tell you something. I always, for a long time, I felt like I had some sort of negative attachment that did not want me to succeed. And there's reasons that I have, like, there were just things that would happen constantly that were seemingly for no reason. And so I often wonder, was this because I believe I have rid myself of that negative energy, but it
Yeah.
still lingers. And I feel like maybe it was trying to get me to not to be scared of it on purpose, because maybe there was, well, I'm having some sort of success now. It's happened. To me, the success is that the documentary is out there and
Thank
people
you,
are seeing
Cheryl.
it and they're
Right.
responding, so
Right.
and I'm gaining friends and people who only seem to want the best for me. And I just, since I've done this, it's been nothing but positive. I'm not,
That's
it's not to say that
wonderful.
I haven't had, sure, I've had haters and people come attack me and stuff, but I also understand how to handle that as well. And I just,
I
even
made a
those
joke a
people,
while back. I had my first troll a while back. I'm like, oh, hey, I made it big. I had a troll.
right, yeah, you're doing something right if someone's hating
Doing
on you.
something right. I had a troll. Yeah, a troll on there.
Mhm.
Plus, he was making fun of me, and I just shot back at her, and then they booted her out.
Mhm. There was a troll in my comments the other day, and he was talking about, he was making fun of David and all this stuff, and I just killed him with kindness. And now he's like, you know what, dude, you seem all right. Like, I'm gonna check out one of your lives. And it's like, you never. I just try to be nice to people. Now, son, that's not to say that I'm perfect at it, because there have been people that just keep on and keep on and keep on and keep on, and then
Oh, yeah.
I can no longer filter myself, and I get, but it takes me a minute to get there. You have to really, really, really try.
Yeah, because I'm usually pretty cool as well. Exactly. Carla, like I was watching her live last night, and I got my feathers ruffled, and I did it in a nice way, but I made it known in her live that what was said was inappropriate.
Mhm.
And here's a woman that's doing her live and doing and she's in her persona, and you know what it is. And okay, you make your cheeky little comment, we get it, haha, funny. But when you had to keep repeating it, and I thought it was disrespectful to her,
Sure.
and I just let it be known right there in the chat that was uncalled for.
Right.
Too bad that the person was upset about it, but not for nothing. She wanted, to have a good conversation. She was looking for information and education, and the comment was just uncalled for.
Yeah.
And I was being nice. I could have, let the filters drop, but I was being good because it wasn't my show.
Mhm.
It's there's no reason for that at
Right.
all. I get it. Hey, I'm the first one, to be out there with the dirty joke or the cheeky comment or whatever. I'm all for that when the timing is right. But when you're doing it and then keep repeating it just to get the attention placed on you,
Yeah.
it's come on.
Just
We're adults.
go live on your own YouTube channel if that's what you want. If you want attention, do that. And you'll get,
and I just thought it was very disrespectful to her, and it ticked me off.
yeah. Fair
And
enough.
then I let her know about it later. Said, well, this is what happened, and I didn't appreciate it. And there was
Yeah.
other people in the chat that didn't appreciate it.
Right. I'm sure.
So it's, and that's what this is all about. We're community. We're supposed to stick up for each other.
Mm-hmm.
Whether, somebody says something and, you don't just, I usually would take it off to the side and mention it. But like I said, he caught me in the wrong mood, and
Yeah.
and that's all I said was that was uncalled for. All right. The joke had already went by once. You didn't have to repeat it.
Well, and oftentimes too, I'm sure that whoever this person is, they're not going to hold a grudge. I mean, I know the person that you're talking about, and and I mean, I know that you're probably not worried about it one way or the other, but we can have your disagreements and you can have your arguments, and then just like, hey, you know what? Like, you're still cool. I'm still cool. Like, just don't be a goddamn dick all the time. Tone it down.
Yeah. I mean, I get the joke. Okay. Yeah. But yeah, there's a time and a place. Oh,
There's a
you're
rule in
welcome,
comedy.
Carla.
There's a rule in comedy. Say it 3 times and then let it die.
Yeah. Well, like I said, it was just the circumstance, and it was just, thought it was disrespectful to her. And,
Yeah.
Especially when you're there for a serious reason and they just got to pull out, the crap and you let it go,
Right.
what the hell.
Right.
Oh, and you were very, very welcome, Carla. And I just thought it wasn't right on your end. It was disrespectful. And I think you own an apology, to be honest.
Yeah.
And maybe, hopefully you get it. That's all that I can
Yeah.
say about that. Anybody else got any questions before we let Jimmie sneak off into the night?
I like what you did there. What about, let me ask you a question. What got you into the paranormal? Initially,
It's a paranormal.
yeah, what got you interested in, I mean, I know you said you had some things happen when you were younger and everything. I'm sure that piqued your curiosity to a degree, but
It's pretty much, what got it started was my first experience.
yeah.
8 years old, and then I just had to wait till I got old enough to go out and do it on my own.
Right.
It always just was in the back of my mind, and it's still to this day. Unfortunately, the building that it happened in is no longer standing because they didn't take care of it. And I think it's the greatest thing because it was a castle. And I actually do have a piece of the castle here in my home as a keepsake from that moment.
And you lived there? Is that
My
right?
aunt used to be the caretaker, and all of us kids used to be able to go and spend summers
Oh,
there.
I see.
And we were there, and that's I was the only one that experienced it that day. I have my other cousin, the one that lives in Arizona now. She had multiple episodes in that building. So it was very active, and like I said, they let it go to ruin, and which is really sad because I think it should have been kept as a historical building, because it was a very prominent family that owned it, and they were related to the Roosevelts. So President Roosevelt actually stayed there.
Okay.
With his family, and also there are Roosevelts buried in the family cemetery that is on that property. If you go further down on the property in the wooded part, it opens up into a clearing, and that's Roosevelt burial sites.
Right on. That's awesome.
And I heard that new people had bought some of the property, so I don't know if they're going to take care of all of that. Actually, I got to talk my husband into maybe driving down there, and we could sneak down in there, and I'll get some shots for everybody.
What a cool place to spend summers as a child. That's awesome.
Yeah, in a castle.
I'm confused why Carla is apologizing for having breasts.
That was part of the insult.
Wow, there was what?
It was a joke that was posed at her female features, and okay, we get it. She's got boobs. Let it go, man. And it just kept coming up, and like I said, I got frosted over it.
Yeah.
A question from Cheryl: do you believe in objects being haunted like dolls?
Anything is possible. I've yet to experience that. So I will tell you something I'm a little embarrassed about. A long time ago, probably 13 years ago, I got sucked into the haunted objects on eBay BS. Well, I always wanted a Ouija board, and I didn't want the typical Ouija boards, the one like by Milton Bradley or whoever. I wanted one that was like could be a conversation piece. And so I looked up Ouija boards on eBay, and I found this one that was supposed to be haunted by a special needs child, a boy, and the spirit that watched over him, which was supposed to be some sort of woman. Don't know if they exist. I don't think so, because I have not had anything happen from this haunted Ouija board. But I would say anything is possible. I don't see why somebody couldn't be attached to something, I guess. I don't know. But in my experience, I haven't had any success with that. So I'm open. I'm open. I remain open-minded. I you know, just like
Hey,
Matt
right.
said, yeah. Stay
Hi,
open-minded.
Phantoms of Yore. Welcome, welcome. He snuck in there and I didn't see him.
Yes, Phantoms, how are you?
He slid in there and I didn't see you.
I recognize that name.
Any other questions, guys? Anything? Are you single, Jimmy?
I am single.
Jimmy is single and 42, ladies. He's a rock star, radio host.
I appreciate that. I do feel like a rock star sometimes. I used to be told that all the time when I was in the band, and people were like, "Man, you're a rock star." I was like, "Well, thank you."
All right. Rock on, dude.
Yeah.
If anybody's looking for an investigator rocker,
Slob.
here's your chance to get Jimmy's digits.
Mm.
Here I am trying to fix you up.
I appreciate that. I appreciate it.
Laura got frosted. God, I love it. Frosted. What did I? Oh, I did. Well, that was being nice. I got frosted. My feathers got ruffled. I try to keep the filter on. Everybody's, well, I can't imagine you swearing. Oh no, because my favorite swear word is the F word too. I'm from the F word generation, so
yeah. Well, it's such a versatile word, isn't it?
Yeah, it's right. You can use it for everything.
Yeah, as George Carlin said, it can be a noun or a verb or an adjective.
I love
it. Can be any of that. Yeah.
But yeah, it's I've gotten better as I've gotten older, but unfortunately, sometimes when I get frosted,
right,
it's just the brain shuts down and then the mouth goes and sorry. But like I said, it wasn't my program, so I was being very professional, and I just said that it was uncalled for.
Yeah. Did you even time him out? You just called him out on it.
I wasn't a mod, so I didn't even
see.
call the person out. All I said was that is uncalled for.
Yeah. Yeah.
So they knew because it wasn't my place to call anybody out, but I just let it be known that it was uncalled for. Blueberry, Jimmy, is there something you'd like to do that you haven't been able to do yet? What's the dream? Good question.
Yeah. Something I'd like to do that I haven't been able to do yet.
Old answer?
Well, what I'd really like to do, and it'll never happen, but I'd really like to because I pay attention to interviewers. That's one of the things that I like. As an interviewer, I pay attention to other interviewers. There's a show called Hot Ones on YouTube where they eat hot wings and they get progressively hotter, and answer questions. I would like to sit down with Sean Evans in that sort of situation, but realistically, I don't think that'll ever happen. But that's something I would love to do, and that's what makes it a dream, right? Because the kinds of people that he has on, we're talking like Jeff Goldblum or Post Malone or recently Hugh Jackman and Ryan Reynolds. He has big people on there. So, but I just love the way he interviews. I love how far he digs, and the questions are always so good. He always, every single episode, there are two things that happen. Most of them, I would say 99% of them. The guest will be amazed at how far he has dug to ask a specific question, which I just love that. And then when they get to the sauce called Da Bomb, every single one of them loses their shit. That is where they're like, I can't handle this. This is out of I may need to go to the doctor. So I would like to experience that. I mean, at least once.
Yeah, my favorite one is Kevin Hart.
Yeah, Kevin Hart's good. Will Ferrell was great. He was on there twice. Gordon Ramsay. There are two Gordon Ramsay ones. Those are so good too. Yeah, Jeff Goldblum.
And he had time to insult the chicken wings, but he still did it.
I know.
I love
My
that.
favorite thing about the Jeff Goldblum one is it's so funny. Like Jeff Gold, we all know how eccentric he is, and he takes a bite out of this. I think it was the bomb, and his his response to it was, "How dare you?" And it's just, I love that. Like he's
I'll
like,
have to look that one up. I didn't see that one.
yeah, he
I love
asks the
him.
"How dare you?" as if the sauce could respond. It's so good.
Right. It's totally insulting. Oh, yeah, me too, Bill. I love Gordon Ramsay. I
Mhm.
love his programs. He's so great.
Yeah, I love Kitchen Nightmares. That's one of my favorite things he did. I didn't really care for the competitive show so much, but the Kitchen Nightmares I
The
really
Kitchen
enjoyed.
Nightmares, yeah. And then the thing is, the people get all upset. Well, not for nothing. You called him there. The man knows
Right.
his business, and
Yeah,
he's there to save your ass.
yeah, yeah. And you just have these hard heads who don't want to. It's like what they wanted Gordon Ramsay to go there and say your food is good, and then because Gordon Ramsay said it, then they think that they're going to get a flock of people. I think that's what's going through their minds. They don't really
Right.
understand what's about to happen, and it's
Yeah,
like,
he's
no,
there to tear him a new ass.
yeah, yeah.
There's a Rob says Jimmy will be single forever once people see how good a guy he is.
Man, y'all are now you're making me blush.
Aww. So if anybody has any pull, we need to get him on that show.
Yeah.
So start throwing out some emails and see what happens.
Yeah.
Wouldn't you shit yourself if somebody still calls you up? Hey, Jimmy.
Yeah, I would. I absolutely would.
That'd be great.
I would be beside myself, to be honest with you.
We'd all be watching. Some of the slob that we're serving on that show is a typo. Oh, Jimmy, get Jimmy some wings. Oh,
Yeah, I love wings. It's one of my favorite things ever.
I do
Favorite.
too. And I won't. My son eats them hot. I can't eat them hot.
Yeah, I don't go too hot now. I typically, I mean, I like medium, but
Right.
at Hooters, I remember when Hooters only had like 4 sauces, and I got all the way up to 911 on there, and that was the same day I cleared 60 wings in one sitting.
Oh boy.
Yeah, it was a good time. I had something to prove.
Oof.
Who would
Okay.
be the dream?
Yeah, your dream guest on your Into the Night show. Well, me, of course. No, just kidding.
Yeah, no, I love everybody that I have on, but dream guest. I'm trying to think of, to be honest with you, I mean, can it be living or dead? Because if it's dead, then I would say I'd like to have Art Bell on.
There you go.
That's the first person that came to my mind. Can I do an Art Bell impression? No. The only thing my favorite thing about Art Bell was like when people would call in, like, because there would be sometimes where he didn't have a guest, and he would just do open lines, which that may happen on my show too. Again, because I'm very inspired by the guy, and I think that's a great idea. But I remember someone calling in and being like, when the moon goes full, I turn into a werewolf. And he just goes, oh my. Like he just let him talk, That was my favorite thing about him. Favorite wing sauce. So back to Hot Ones, and I am not a sponsor, by the way, but they have just released their sauces to the general grocery stores, and the one that's just called buffalo sauce, or I think it's just buffalo sauce. That one is so good. It has the perfect amount of taste. There's not too much heat. I think it could be a little spicier, but their verde sauce is really good as far as spice goes. When I went to B-Dubs, which I don't anymore, I would get the spicy garlic sauce there because I loved it. Was just like the
That
perfect amount
sounds
of.
good.
Yeah, it's so good. At Hooters, I love their teriyaki sauce because it's sweet, not like other teriyakis where it's all super salty. So
Right.
it's really good for like if you get like if you're eating medium wings and it's getting hot, you grab one of those and shuck that, and it just kills. The sweet to spice ratio is so good. So yeah, I would have to say I think right now my favorite sauce is the Hot Ones buffalo sauce. It's really good. Really good.
Yeah. Bill was wondering about the impression there is because you have a similar voice to Art Bell.
Oh, you think so? That's awesome.
Who says that
Yeah.
her ex used to eat the nuclear wing sauce at Hooters?
Wow. So I had the 911, which was the hottest, and I mean, I got high off of it.
Oh,
I will say that. Yeah, it like endorphins start kicking you in the face, and like, yeah, you get a rush. That's why people do it. That's why
is that
people.
what it is?
Yeah, it's
Because I
because
have
yeah.
a friend who likes to. Well, she used to. She can't touch any of this stuff now because her guts are all rotted out. But she would eat. I don't even know what the stuff was called. If she was eating chicken wings, she ended up with a nosebleed.
Wow.
I don't know what it was, but I said, I go, after a certain amount of time, you taste nothing.
Yeah.
You're just, it's heat. There's no flavor, no nothing, just heat. So why
Right.
do you do that?
Yeah. No, thank you. There
Yeah, well,
needs
she's
to be
paying for
flavor.
it now.
Sure. Yeah. Yeah. That's too bad. But yeah, there needs to be a good ratio of flavor to spice, not just
hot.
burn your mouth out for no reason.
Right. And she ended up with a nosebleed. I said, she's I'm like, you're crazy.
That's nuts. I've never heard of that. It's so funny. Bob Jr. Rob's asking me to do my redneck impression. My redneck, his name is Uncle Junk. One thing I like to do, so because I live in a very, they're rednecks out here, where I live,
Right.
and they don't find it funny when I do it, but they'll be like, I've heard them like coming, like talking about, oh, my computer died. I'm like, well, what you need to do is get yourself some new RAM, get yourself a new, you might want to get yourself a CPU and a new PSU. And so I just like talk to him like I'm talking about cars, but I'm talking about,
It's funny.
Yeah.
Oh my God, it's good.
Thanks. That's I was told that kind of sounded like the Tiger King, which he was sort of an inspiration for that voice.
Oh, okay. Did she say, yeah, the last time he ate them, he got alcohol poisoning from bad moonshine and ended up throwing them up and coming out the other end too. Oh, Jesus.
God. I bet that was awful.
Yeah, when you got burning going on at both ends,
Yeah,
it's pretty rough.
You're no longer safe. Sounds like
Bill
Mater.
It sounds like Mater
From Cars.
Yeah, it did a little bit. Yeah, now that he says it, I'm thinking about it. Yeah, it does a little bit. We need to build an old the car reference. Actually, yeah, guys, if you can, Bill has a great channel, Carburetors and Coffee.
I love the name.
Your car problems, and he throws in, of course, coffee and humor with it as well. So you guys check him out. Well, he had just recently changed it because it was called Carbs and Coffee. And he was getting people say, was it a baking show?
You're right, yeah.
Well, apparently maybe our
wrong
generation,
kind of carbs.
That's what we used to call it, carbs,
Yeah.
The carb's busted. I got to rebuild the carb. And this generation has no clue what that is. So
right.
He had to spell it all the way out.
Fair enough. I like that, Carburetors and Coffee. That's good.
So, and he's good at it, and it's funny, and everybody has a good time. You guys he's gotta just check it out. He lives out in the middle of nowhere too. So actually, one of them, his videos where he was out in the garage working and filming stuff, and then he ended up it was a rabid fox showed up.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a little scary. And of course,
rabid fox
between him and the house. So
wow.
Thank God he made it back to the house. Rob says, Laura, can't wait till you get memberships and super chats so we can help you. Oh, that's so kind of you. I've got a long way to go.
You'll
And
get
I
there.
appreciate that. I mean, I was just excited. Like I said, actually, I forgot what I'm up to now. 187, I think, or something like that. And I'm thinking, oh, gee, I'm almost at the 200 mark.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's a milestone.
Oh my God. Well, I was happy when I got 10.
Steph
looked at me like,
Cuervo
"Are you
Queen has
crazy?"
showed up. Steph showed up in the chat. Hey, Steph.
Hi, Steph. Steph, hello.
What concert did you go to? She said
I'm
she was
not
at a
rabid.
concert.
Oh, nice. You know, I'm going to tell you something. I have never been to a concert in my entire life.
Really?
And I'm one of those odd people that have never been to one.
Just because you didn't want to go, and nobody
My
seemed
father
interested
and
enough
mother
to
wouldn't
go?
let me go when I was a teenager because they said it was too dangerous.
Okay.
And then when I got older, I just never went. So, oh well.
Well, perhaps I'll pick your brain about that on Tuesday. I'll have to remember that.
Yeah, I never, because I say that people look at me like, what? Like, I'm some kind of weirdo. No. Well, see where our auditorium was. It was not the greatest part of town, and my father goes, "No, you're not going down there." So I was never allowed to go. And
First
so
concert
now,
I ever went to was Ozfest '97 because I adored Ozzy in my teenage years.
yeah, that must have been great.
And yeah, I was in Gold Circle because back then seats like that were like $80. The most you'd pay was $200 for a ticket, which was expensive back then. This is 1997. Now $80 is, you're lucky to get, you know, you can't even get nosebleeds for $80. You know, like when we went to see Kiss, we were on the far left side of the stage, way up in the nosebleeds, and our tickets were $74 each.
Yikes!
Yeah, and so people were paying upwards of $3,000 for front row or whatever, or more. You know, and it's just like not worth it, man. Like not worth it. Not to me anyway. I prefer little venues and underground indie bands where the ticket might cost you $35 and it's general admission. Show up early and you've got a good place to watch the show from, you know.
Right. She's at the MGM Casino. It's not really a concert. It's free concert Friday night, a Journey Chirpy band.
That's cool.
Were they good? I love to sing Journey, but are they good?
You seen this guy that sings like Steve Perry? He's been all over the internet because he's
close.
He's from Terre Haute, which is only about an hour and a half away from where I live.
Oh yeah.
He's a janitor at the school there, and he does a really good job. Hopefully he can get himself a job because the voice he has is perfect for that kind of music. Hopefully he can get himself a job with a group like what you're talking about, Steph, where he's getting paid well to do it, because that's obviously what he's meant to do. You know, I see a lot of singers like that come and go on the internet, but I would really like for that guy to at least make a career out of it somehow.
Yeah, especially if they have the talent, then yeah, you'd like them to see well. Like Disturbed, I love Disturbed. His voice, the front man, oh my God, he has an incredible voice.
Yeah, I saw
and that's
both
what,
of them. I think I was at that same Ozfest. That was 98, if I remember right. I was there because Slipknot was not, they were brand new. No one knew who they were yet. That was Ozfest 98 that really put Slipknot on the map.
Yeah, Bill loves them too. Steph's going to send you some clips.
Cool.
Let's see. Blueberry said her first was a free concert. I was a preteen going to pick up my brother, and the cop let us in to wait until the concert was over. It was 3 Dog Night for free. Wow.
Nice.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I saw Ozzy in 2009 in Iowa.
Veteran Center.
You guys all had that fun. I didn't get to have any of that fun.
he's such a good, I don't know, man. Ozzy really knows what he's got. And when you go to an Ozzy show, you know what you're getting, and he delivers every time.
It's amazing. He's an amazing talent. And it's sad
Just-
that, see how he's just deteriorating because
know.
what he,
Yeah,
I look
he's
at
the
old
same age as
photographs and old stuff.
he's the same age as my father.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and yeah, it's like after he had that
He lived hard, though.
he lived hard, and then after he had that wreck on his four-wheeler, that's when things really started plummeting for the guy, physically and in his physical health. But yeah, I mean, man, that guy that snorted ants. He snorted ants. You know that story? So yeah, when he was touring with Motley Crue, they were always trying to one up each other, and he
Yeah.
just, you know,
Well, it's because
Crazy.
he was always drunk or high or whatever. So
Mhm,
hey, he figured,
mhm.
what the heck? There's one clip in there where a guy hits the floor in front of me. I had nothing to do with it. No. But I'm having a drink with one of the state cops that was in the video at the moment. Well. At Riot the year of this year, and Ace from Kiss.
Yeah, I've seen Quiet
Nice.
Riot before. I saw them. I think they opened up for. Man, I've seen so many concerts. They blend in anymore. But I remember seeing Rat and Quiet Riot and Skid Row, and I think they were all opening for like Poison, maybe, or Ted Nugent, one of the two.
Right.
And Ace Frehley. I've never been to in one of his solo concerts, but I'd like to go because Ace is a very good guitar player. He's like a lot more inspirational, I think, than a lot of people realize. Like he was doing a lot of things before anybody else was. And he dressed up like a Twinkie in the 70s and stuff, but I don't hold it against him. I mean, I loved Kiss growing up. Kiss was like my favorite.
Yes, as a kid, they were everybody's favorite band. But when I got older, I really thought to myself, you know what? They're not as good as we thought they were. They're
Well,
good, but
there
not
was
as
a
good
period.
as we thought they were.
Yeah, you're right. During the 80s, it was like they're very fad-like. So they would like, oh, what's new? What's going on right now? And then they would do that, there was an album they did with after Peter Criss had gotten kicked out of the band and they hired Eric Carr. They did this album called Music from the Elder, and it was supposed to be, well, it is a concept album like what Pink Floyd does. So and then they did the disco thing, like I Was Made for Loving You and Sure Know Something, and the Dynasty album and all that. They try to stay relevant, which they're just smart business people.
Yes, they are
really
very smart.
But I do think I do think the first three albums. Yeah, the first three albums I think are really good. That was when they were still a hungry band. After that, I mean, Destroyer, that's the one that's like when they really started taking off and stuff. That's got Detroit Rock City and Beth and all that. And then Love Gun. Those songs are good and everything, but at some point it does feel like they were just making content to make content. We can call it that now because that's what it was,
Well, when they signed the contract, and they happened to all of the great bands back then in the 80s, you had to do what the record deal was. Had to make that kind of music, whether you wanted to, because they happened to Heart.
Right.
Fantastic women, great talent. And they even admitted they didn't want that music, but they wanted to do their music and they weren't allowed.
Right.
Because, that's not what everybody wanted back then.
Yeah.
And I am totally, attracted to anybody that has actually true talent. That's part of the, even because I like all kinds of music, from, classical to, the rap and all of that. But only certain rap, though. I wish a lot of these rappers, because they are talented people, I wish that they would actually sing something to show everybody what they've got.
Yeah. That's why I like Kevin Gates. Kevin Gates is a rapper, but he sings. And I would not mess with that guy. Like he's been through, he's been through a lot, and he came up, as he puts it, out the mud, where it was, he's a self-made man, but he sings, and it's not just mumble rap where it's just, trash. It's like there's messages in his music, and I really love it.
And I understand it. That's what a lot of it is about. But just once, I really like to see them just change it up. And I mean, I know that's where they're making their money.
Yeah.
But I know some of them, their voices are beautiful, and I'd love to see it something different.
Yeah.
Just to see how far and their talent goes,
Right.
because
Rob's
you got a
asking
lot of
about
them.
the Kiss movie. It was called Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park.
Yeah.
Yeah, Kiss Meets the Phantom of the Park. Awful movie, but wonderful at the same time.
It's what they do. It's what they do. So wow, we've had a big range on everything, haven't we?
Yeah, I don't mind.
Fantastic. Carla, Jimmy rocks.
Thanks.
There's also a Scooby-Doo movie.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, it's an animated thing.
I don't remember
Kiss,
that.
Scooby-Doo meets Kiss.
Jeez.
Yeah, they're everywhere.
I should have known
everywhere.
that. My son loved Scooby-Doo. I should have known that.
Yeah, they have anything you can think of, they've got it. I saw Carla mention Ace had a Hello Kitty shirt on. There's Kiss Hello Kitty. There's Kiss caskets. You could be buried in a Kiss coffin if you wanted to be. There's Kiss condoms. There's I mean,
Are you serious?
Yeah. They branched into everything except for food. And
Kiss condoms.
Yeah.
Holy man.
And I'm sure they're
pieces
probably
on them.
Right. Yeah, I think so. Or probably glow in the dark, which I don't know what.
That's funny.
And it's like, I'm sure they're ridiculously expensive. Like you just buy a regular box of condoms for $20, but their condoms are probably $35 because they're.
I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to look that up. That's freaking awesome. Gene Simmons is a maniac for money. Oh, he's an awesome businessman.
Yeah.
He knows what he's doing, and he knows how to market it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And, I've read his book, and I used to really. There was a part of me that got bitter after Kiss put the makeup back on and became a circus again, because they were no longer about being a band that was music. It was about being. It was about the money. And
yeah.
But when I read Gene's book, his mother was she got out of the concentration camps. Her grandmother his grandmother died in a concentration camp, and she narrowly escaped. And they come to America, and he's enchanted by the movies here. He falls in love with King Kong and Godzilla and all these monster movies, the Bela Lugosi and Boris Karloff. And he made it a point that he was going to take care of his mother. And I have to there's a soft spot in my heart for that. Good for him, because he did it, man. He took care of his mom.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he did. And like I said, I think he took care of his family in general.
Manowar, I know who Manowar is, and King Diamond. Yeah, King Diamond. Merciful Fate, I know who they are. Manowars, they're crazy. This dude would do this thing where he would and it was just for the camera, but he would I don't remember what they would call it, but he would smash his beard and he would open it up and he would just pour it all over his face. And it was, they were supposed to be this big party group, and they were a really great metal band, but never got any love in America. Not really.
Yes, yeah. Kiss became a brand more than a band. They crossed that threshold, and so they just.
Which you can't hate them for, I mean.
And made them the money, and made them who they are, and.
Right, that could have went away very quickly. They could, you think about it, the idea is ridiculous.
Yeah.
But they somehow were able to stay. I wouldn't say relevant, but people know who they are. Everybody knows who they are. Everybody
Oh,
in
they
this
made
chat knows
they
who
made
Kiss
that
is.
they made that impression and it stuck.
Yeah.
Where you had other bands or even individual singers where they come out and you thought they would be big and this and that. No, one hit wonders and they were out of here. And Kiss made it through all of that. So
Yeah. Yeah.
they
It's
knew what they
because
were doing.
yeah, they didn't spend. I mean, they knew how to spend their money and where they put it. I read that Gene Simmons said he has never lost money ever. Like he's never spent money on something and lost it ever. I believe that.
Me too.
I'm not. I wish I could say the same, but
Yeah, we all just don't have that talent. I don't know.
money comes and goes. That's the way I see it.
Yeah, they're not young anymore. They need the cash. Oh, they have more cash than we'll ever see.
Yeah. Yeah.
Gene Simmons was in that movie also.
What movie?
Which movie, Bill?
There was one called. What was it called? There was one with him and Rutger Hauer. I can't remember what it was called. The Hitchhiker? Oh, man, if you had asked me this when I was 15, I would have been able to tell you, but I can't remember anymore. Oh, with Tom Selleck. Yeah, what is that called? I have to look it up.
I don't know. Gene Simmons and Tom Selleck.
Runaway. The movie is called Runaway. And Gene Simmons plays a bad guy.
It sounds familiar. It's yeah. Bill, you just pulled it up too. Yeah, that does sound familiar. I'll have to look at just to see the picture.
Yeah.
Dazed and Confused, one of the best movies of all times. I love that film.
That's Matthew McConaughey's first film.
Oh, was it?
Mm-hmm.
This is not related, but you just put it out there. It was one of his favorite films.
There might be a Kiss pinball machine in that movie, maybe. I know there's a Kiss pinball machine in one of the Friday the 13th movies. I think it might be Friday the 13th Part 2.
I wouldn't even paid any attention to that.
Right. I'm full of stupid trivia.
See, like Bill would know that stuff too because Bill catches every. I told Bill needs to be a debunker because he catches stuff that. I mean, he catches everything. It's amazing.
Yeah.
Because he helped me go over some video footage one time, and he caught stuff that, like, I sit and watch the thing, didn't even notice it. And he was like, "Well, did you notice this? And did you notice that?" And I said, "You might be in the wrong, wrong genre on YouTube. I think you need to be a debunker."
Yeah.
And he says he does that at home when they're watching movies. He says his wife is concentrating on the story and the characters, and Bill's watching the whole background for screw ups. And he catches them all too.
Excuse me. Yeah, it might have been The Hitcher with Rutger Hauer. I don't know if Gene Simmons was in that or not. I don't know. I probably got mixed up somewhere.
The Hitcher. That's what I said, Bill, I got to get you to watch some more of these videos and see what you can catch.
Yeah, I bet he could even do. I'm sure that there are malicious channels out there that try to get you to fix your car, but what they'd have you do would just destroy it. So maybe he could look up for stuff like that and debunk those guys.
Hey, there you go, Bill.
Steak and cheese egg rolls.
Now
Now we're talking about
teasing us
food.
with food. This is wrong, Steph.
Rockstar with Mark Wahlberg. Yeah, Zach Wilde is in that movie. He plays the guitar player for whatever the band was called. I can't remember what they were called. Steak and cheese egg rolls sound phenomenal.
It does sound good. And of course, I have nothing to nibble on. I have to go grocery shopping tomorrow morning.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
I've
now
got
I'm
some
just
pot
stuck with bread
pies I
and
could play with.
water. Prison food, bread and water. She goes, sorry, I'm at a casino. I'm starving. And she probably paid $50 for that egg roll.
Right.
See, it's been at a casino.
She'll win it back. I'm giving her good vibes. I'm sending good vibes to you, Steph. You're gonna
Big money, big money.
Yeah, you're gonna come out ahead tonight at least.
Nope, I used my points.
Oh, that's and it didn't cost money. She got it. She paid for it with points. So
It's
that's
all
good.
right.
Yeah.
I haven't been to casino in years. I don't know. I used to go every year for Christmas because they had like the big Christmas displays and all of that. But
I've
I'm
never
thinking,
been.
okay, it's nice to look at all of that crap, and you play a couple of games and you get the hell out of there. We went a couple of times, but it's not my thing.
Yeah, I'd like to go, but knowing to see, I'm a gamer, and I would be.
Keep going.
I think if I hit like, say I dropped 20 and I got $600, I would leave. I would be like, all right, I'm leaving. Because I'm not about to push my luck.
Right? Yeah, we never bring more than $50.
Yeah.
And I'm happy to say that both times that we've done that, we've left with more than what we came with. So I was all right with it.
Nice. Yeah. Heck yeah.
And one time I kept winning, and my husband goes, "Aren't you going to keep going?" I said, "Nope, cash out. I'm not pushing my luck." And I think after it was like $150. I said, okay, we made out, we didn't lose any money, and we made out with $50 extra or so. So that's good for me. And I'll take the chance. I'm too chicken.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, can lose your ass. I got friends that go out to Vegas every year, and one of my friends went out there. He's like, I'm going to teach him I'm going to show him that we play cards in Indiana. It's like, dude, you are not the only person in the world that has come to Vegas thinking that way. And guess what? He lost his ass and he was pissed off.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, it's fun. You can play a little bit, and it's like I said, and there's a trick to it.
Sure.
I've learned it from a few people that you always play the game that's on the end by the aisle. And it's the reason those are the winners is because when people walking by, they say you win. Oh, well, I'll sit next to this guy. He's winning on this game. And they're saying, yeah. There's a whole science to the whole thing. Actually, I know somebody who read a book about it.
Right.
And watched a bunch of videos, and it tells you pretty much what games to hit, which ones not to. And she goes, she hit it big at the other casino due to my daughter telling me which machine she liked. They caught me every show of it. Oh, that's nice. So yeah, there is tricks to it. And if you don't win something, when you put in that first $5, if you don't win anything off of that, you switch and get the hell out and go to a different one.
Yeah.
But there's all kinds of tricks and all that.
Yeah, I've never played a machine either, Carl. I've never been in a situation. Most gambling I've ever done is lottery tickets, and I don't do that too often either. It's like I'm much more okay with spending $5 on 5 lottery tickets and losing that. But man, there are $50 to $100 lottery tickets, scratch offs. You know that? People are paying $100 for scratch offs.
Yes.
That's like, you're out of your mind.
Oh yeah.
Like,
those are like the $1 million win things.
Just give me the $100. If you like.
I would say it must be nice to have the $100 to waste on paper.
Yeah, for real. I can't imagine that. It's like, man,
$100, that's grocery money. Sorry.
Yeah. Or a big bag of weed.
You can't eat, you can't eat scratch off cards.
No, you cannot.
But that's just,
Well, you,
I think that's just the mother in me.
guess you could eat them, but it probably wouldn't
Yeah.
do you very
Thinking
good.
about filling a refrigerator than, wasting it
Uh-huh.
on paper. What'd she say? She says, I get that, Jimmy. Maybe playing a machine once just to try it out would be fun if you were somewhere. There were a bunch on the cruise ship. Yeah, like I said, you play, you just do, you always give yourself that limit. Never go over that limit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, never
Like I
spend
said,
more
my
than
husband and I, we haven't been in there in a year. Actually, before 19 showed up here and made everybody lock up. We were there. So that's been a long time since we've been. But like I said, $50 was the limit that my husband would split it with me, and he would lose, I would win. And then when I get to a certain point, he'd want to, oh, you want to keep going? And I would, no, let's go. We've got our money back and a little extra.
Mm-hmm.
Good enough for me. And then we'd leave because even though, and they allow smoking in the casinos, but it's filtered.
Mm-hmm.
So it seems like the air, is clear and it's there, but I would always leave and have the sorest throat. Oh my God, awful.
Yeah.
I
wouldn't bother me. I wouldn't. Oh, sorry. Go ahead. Are you reading?
No, you go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I wasn't saying anything important.
Excuse me. No, I was just reading over stuff. So she was put a 20 in a $5 machine, and on a third pull, I hit it, and they shut the machine down. Are you kidding? Yes, they don't like it when you win their money.
They shut the machine down and comped her room for the night. After taxes, she had $17,000.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ! Out of 20, I see. I would leave. I'd be like, all right, I'm taking my $17,000 and I'm going home.
And I'm out of here. Exactly.
That's amazing.
My best friend's sister used to spend money like crazy at the casino, thousands.
Yeah.
But her husband had it, and he wanted to make her happy. She'd lose 10 grand and call him up. Oh, honey, put some more money on my card. Okay. I'm thinking,
Wow.
Must be nice.
Yeah.
Of course, me, I wouldn't be there if I had that kind of money.
That's right.
But she didn't care. And of course, the more money you spend, the more they're going to give you.
Absolutely.
As far as, like you said, comp's room, you get, some places for restaurants. They give you more points to win because they want you to stay there and keep spending your money.
Mm-hmm.
She spent 10, 20,000, think nothing of it.
Right. That's
and
crazy.
I'd be like, what the hell's the matter with her?
I could make $20,000 last me quite a while.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, never did. I find better things to spend it on than in a casino.
Yeah.
Let's see, that's me. I'm more practical, and I always think more on the practical side.
I'm starting to. now that I'm a father, and it's not just me anymore. I have to think about that stuff.
Right. Well, even before, my husband always wanted a sports car. I said, it's not for nothing. Look at the things that we do. Where does a sports car play into that? I said, I get it. It's a guy thing. I get it. Speed, it's great. I'm guilty of being a speed demon too if I get into something that's got a little bit, balls. But we go camping in the middle of nowhere in the woods. Any old mud hole road you find, we drive down it. We're hauling lumber and gear, and he's a painting contractor. Where are you gonna put that in a Porsche?
Right.
I said, so it's just more practical that we own a truck. And then he'd be like, yeah, you're right.
Right.
I mean, I get it. I said, we ever become rich someday, or when you get old and, we don't do these things anymore, then you go out and buy your sports car. But then, you're old and it's no fun, I guess. I don't know.
Carla says she would spend that stuff on Halloween shit. The things that matter.
Wouldn't work in that store. I told her that the other, last night I think I mentioned to her, I could not work in that store. I'd be coming home with all kinds of Halloween crap.
Right.
Just like
it is pretty cool.
I mean, the craft stores, I could never work in any of those because, oh my God, the craft supplies and all that stuff I would have.
Right.
It's terrible. So I
Especially
can't do any of that. Sometimes you win, but most of you, yeah, that's what it is. Most of the time you do lose. Oh, they give you that little tease, you know, and then all of a sudden, then they suck you dry.
Mm-hmm.
That's why when you win, you lose. You know, oh, I won. You know, even if it was $20, I'm 20 up. I'm out of here. The people are crazy. I went once to bingo. I'm thinking, okay, I'll give this a try. These people were there for all day. God.
Bingo. Bingo.
Yeah. I'm like, here, I just put this money. I got the shaft. I said, I'm leaving. You got all these old ladies, all these tickets, and they were just winning money like crazy. It's not my thing. I'd rather be outside. I collect craft supplies too. Well, is it, you know, well, that's why I have like the green screen behind me, guys, because my studio is also my workshop, and you don't need to see the other side. You're gonna see workbenches and cabinets filled with jewelry making supplies, leather making stuff, all that stuff. So yeah, I says, well, they really don't need to see all of that. So I had to put that up because nobody wants to see that garbage. You know, on power tools. Stuff like I got a little bit of everything over there because I never know what I'm going to get into from one day to the next. All right, guys, if nobody has any other questions or smart remarks or whatever, we're going to let Jimmie get going because it's getting late. And I'm sure everybody has other stuff that they got to take care of this evening. And I just want to thank everybody for joining us. I had a great time. I hope you all did. Jimmie, I hope you did as well. I really enjoyed having you on. This was a blast. And I'm glad that everybody showed up and took part in it. And we will definitely have Jimmie on again whenever he wants. It's an open invitation.
Awesome.
So,
yeah.
You know,
well, I look forward to having you on Tuesday as well.
Tuesday. So. I'm afraid, guys. I'm afraid. No.
Yeah, no, we're going to have a good time. Absolutely.
Be kind to me, Jimmie.
Absolutely. Yeah, we'll have a good time.
Maybe if I sweeten it a little bit more, maybe he'll just be, please be kind to me, Jimmie.
Well, no, I don't have anything dirty planned, so you'll be all right. We'll be all right.
No, all right, guys. Until we meet again. Actually, yes, I will be on his show Tuesday, so you can pop on over there and
let's
watch me be put out on the rack, and
it'll be between 5 p.m. and 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
That's where you're going to see us again. Until then, guys, thanks for joining us on the Raw side, and we will catch you all later.
Bye, everybody.